live on YouTube.
Yeah, I have everybody ready, so we're ready to go.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
What's your name?
Hernandez?
Do we need an interpreter?
You need an interpreter?
No, sir.
No, ma'am.
Judge, you know, actually, that case, Hernandez, I believe you signed that that consent bond. That was
Yeah.
for Michael Katz. And so we don't even need that defendant.
And Judge, that's one of the cases I was here on. I thought he'd hired private, but that just confirmed it for me.
Okay.
So.
Mute.
You signed that for me yesterday.
Okay, so you can send Cervantes Hernandez can go back, as well as Ashley Hayes can go back.
And Judge, those are both of mine. Those are the two I have. May I be excused?
You absolutely may. Wow, that was a quick, short appearance.
So 1 second, let me make sure that's the one we got back. I just want to double check. Give me 1 second.
Send Hernandez back.
Okay.
No, it was, wait a minute, because I sent one.
You sent Hayes. You sent Ashley Hayes.
I sent Hayes and I sent another
I signed
one.
that.
And I sent the one, let me make sure that, because Michael Katz, he may be, because I had Michael on one and then I had Melvin Dansby. Give me 1 second.
Attorney Robinson, which case are you on?
Danny Beatles, so multiple co-defendant.
Okay.
Okay, so it's Melvin Dansby. I apologize. Keep Hernandez, but I was waiting to get that back from the attorney, and I think I forwarded that to Your Honor as well. And Michael Katz was on the one yesterday.
This person must not be on the calendar for today.
Yes, Hernandez is, but I sent that one to you yesterday.
Oh, I didn't get it. Okay. Okay.
So that's why I knew I did that one. That was Melvin Dansby.
Okay, let's hold on to Mr. Hernandez until I sign the paperwork. Okay.
Hey, Judge.
Thank you so much.
Do you need me to stay for him, or do you, since it's Mr. Dansby's, it looks like?
No, I don't.
All right, thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you, Counselor. Okay, let's go ahead and call this calendar. Good morning. This is the Magistrate Court of Clayton County. I'm Chief Judge Dowling, sitting by designation of the Superior Court of Clayton County to hear this calendar on this 5th day of August, 2020. State versus Daquan Ball.
State's ready.
Judge,
Attorney Tolles, we can't hear you well. Okay, we'll just come on back to that one. State versus Danny Beatles.
That's me, Your Honor. Good morning.
State's ready.
No, I do
ready
have a
on
conflict
behalf
this
of
morning,
Mr.
Judge.
Beatles.
I've got it now.
Okay, we are not hearing you well, Attorney Tolles. So hold on 1 second. State versus Leon Bennett.
That's the co-defendant. State's ready.
That'll be a waiver.
State versus Richard Boswell.
State's ready.
Good morning, Judge. If I could just have a moment to speak with my client.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you, Judge.
Good. State versus Zakia Carter.
State's ready.
Your Honor, if I can hold on announcement to speak with my client.
Okay, very, very good.
Your Honor, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I represented John Beatles, and there was no mention of his name. He's the co-defendant with.
Wow.
The other defendant.
I don't have him on today's calendar. I have Danny Beatles. Miss Moultrie, can we figure out where is John or Johnny?
It's John.
John. We'll try to figure out where he is. Okay, Counselor.
And I'm showing him on the calendar as well.
Yeah,
Right
he's
after
on the
Danny
calendar.
Is he? You know what? It could be that I didn't notice that there were two. Oh, there he definitely is. I apologize. State versus John Beatles.
Your Honor, I believe that's going to be a hearing this morning.
Okay, State versus Diamond Champion.
State's ready.
We like to pre-trial with the state.
Okay. State versus Taiwan. Is it COAD or code?
State's ready.
That'll be a bond waiver.
Okay. State versus James Duke.
State's ready.
Bill Matos has that case.
Okay, thank you. Have you heard from Attorney Matos? Ms.
I
Freeman?
have not, Your Honor. I didn't know who was on James Duke.
Okay. State versus Eddie Griffin.
State's ready.
Your Honor, I just need a moment to speak with him, but I suspect this will be a bond waiver.
Okay. State versus, so I'm going to skip Ashley Hayes, who waived. Cervantes Hernandez, what would be the announcement on that?
Well, Your Honor, we do have the officer, so the state is ready, I was going back to make sure that Mr. Dansby sent me back the waiver, and so I just sent him an email to make sure, because I was trying to look at it on my iPad, but we do have a waiver and a consent bond.
Okay, did you send that over to me?
That's what I was trying to think. I don't think that Mr. Dansby sent it back. I sent the one with Mr. Katz, but I don't think I got the one from Mr. Dansby back.
Okay, because I didn't think so. I typically look, and I sent one back to you like last night.
Yes, and so that's why I just sent him an email to find out, because I was waiting for him to send it back to me.
Okay, okay, great. State versus Wanda Keaton.
State's ready.
And Your Honor, again, if I could just have a moment to speak with her, but I believe this will be a fast track.
Okay. State versus Austin Lee.
The state's ready.
That'll be a waiver.
Okay. State versus Jonathan Oliver.
State's ready.
That's my case, Judge. Good morning. We're ready.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you.
Good, good, good. State versus John Spencer.
Your Honor, I thought that was continued. That was with Attorney Lee Sexton.
Oh, you're right.
His office sent in something about wanting a continuance.
You're absolutely right. And then the bond hearing is set for this Friday.
Right.
So didn't we continue this, Ms. Moultrie? I think we already continued this to next Tuesday.
Yeah, but he just can't have his bond hearing.
Exactly. Okay, so this is on for next Tuesday. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. State versus Jarrell Sturdivant.
Your Honor, and I did indicate this to Attorney Tolles. The officer has annual leave today. I did forward him a copy of the conflict. So the state is asking that Sturdivant be rescheduled.
Okay.
And Judge, can the court hear me now?
We can absolutely hear you now, Counselor.
Okay, I was objecting, and I object to the continuance. My client has been in custody since May 30th, and this case has been scheduled since early July.
Okay.
So I was not notified until yesterday of this leave of absence that was filed with a pending case on the calendar. So I'm objecting to the continuance because I think I didn't receive any notice of the leave, and I don't think the officer should be able to file leave or go on vacation when they know they have a case on the calendar without getting, some type of, prior permission from the court to be excused. So I'm objecting.
When was the leave filed?
Excuse me.
Let me see. It was filed on July 30th, and I got notice of it yesterday. And when I got notice of it, I contacted Mr. Tolles.
This will not be dismissed. I can say that to you. Good try. Continue.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes, ma'am. All right, so Attorney Tolles, we need to hear your announcement on Daquan Baugh. I couldn't really hear you.
Okay, yes, Judge, I am ready on that case, but the problem I'm having this morning is that I'm on my way to have a conflict at a parole hearing at 9:00 a.m. So I probably won't be available until maybe after 10:30 to have the hearing.
Okay.
But I am ready. It's on that multi-co-defendant.
Got you. I got you. So it's Daquan Baugh, Danny Beatles, John Beatles. Those are the three that are ready of the four.
And Judge, on Sturdivant, if the court is not is going to continue the case, the only thing I would ask is that it be continued, at the earliest possible calendar.
Well, let me tell you what happens. I understand. And I don't know how many, what we do is we continue to Tuesdays. Tuesdays are catch-all kind of overflow day. But we don't put too many on Tuesday because we only have a few hours on Tuesday before first appearance starts at 1. And we only have that one pod for the jail. So, and I know, not trying to, what's the good word? Inconvenience you or your client, but I know that if there's a hearing with you, it's going to be lengthy. So I don't know. We're going to have to find a Tuesday where there are not a lot of cases already scheduled.
When is the officer coming back from leave?
It's just today.
Oh.
And that's, on certain, she just had to leave today.
He can go on the 11th, Judge, if you're okay with that.
How many are already on there?
4.
All right, let's go ahead.
That's a definite hearing.
All right.
The next one would be the 18th.
We'll talk about that in a minute. I'm gonna circle back around on that one, okay?
Close it up.
And Judge, I just got an email from Mr. Matos, and we're going to do a consent bond on Dukes. So whenever we have a break, I can get that prepared and sent to him.
Okay. All right, so what we'll do is, it looks like several of the public defenders need a breakout room. Of course, I want to put you in a breakout room so you can pre-trial with your clients. And so I would ask that you bring Richard Boswell, Zakia Carter, probably in this order. Richard, just go alphabetically. Boswell, Carter, Keaton. Those would be the 3 that the public defenders are going to need to pre-trial with. And so I move the jail. I'm going to make the breakout rooms right now.
I also need Griffith, Your Honor.
Griffin?
Yes.
Okay, so I thought you want to pre-trial with the state. You want to pre-trial with?
No, that would be with my client.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank
So I'm going to make, yes.
Person Akamibo,
Spell that last name.
Akamibo.
I thought he's out.
Nah, they're in jail, but they have like mental issues.
I believe Akamibo. Oh.
That's the very first one.
Client, Misty Williams, isn't it? Onye?
It is, but she's not doing a hearing. Please bring her back to where she needs to be.
Okay, thank you. Because
yeah.
We understand.
Right.
We understand. Yeah, we're waiting for something to happen with her.
Okay, gotcha.
Thank you. All right, so D. Williams, Reddick, Allen, Rhodes, Davis. You're moving into breakout room 1. Do any of the private attorneys need a breakout room?
Your Honor, I'd like to speak to Mr. Beatles very quickly.
Okay. And then I will move you into breakout room 2.
And Judge Dallas?
Sir.
I would like to be excused until I conclude my hearing and come back when I'm come back and can I be excused?
Okay. You can.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. All right. And then Counselor David West, do you need to speak with your client at all?
Judge,
So
I'm actually communicating with the state right now by chat. We may have an agreement, so if I can have just a couple minutes to continue that conversation.
Okay. And then, sir, at the podium, what is your name, please?
Richard Boswell.
Boswell. All right, great. All right, stand right there. Let me open up the breakout rooms. Attorney Robinson, do you need a breakout room to speak to anyone or?
Do not, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm going to open the rooms. And Attorney Freeman, I'm going to keep you here until someone says they want a pre-trial. All right, y'all can start going into the breakout rooms.
No, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, may I just ask a logistical question?
Sure.
Are we doing all the prelims at the same time?
We're going to start them at 9:15.
Okay. So do we, Mr. Thomas Robinson and I, do we need to wait for Chris Tolles, or will we just start our prelim and then?
No, yours will start right at 9:15.
Okay, all right.
But the question And the challenge, hold on one second, let me just think of something. If Attorney Tolles is not available until after 10, it doesn't make sense to bifurcate these.
Right, that's
That
right.
way you,
it's just he's doing a parole hearing and they will not allow phones in there. So we're basically just on hold until, that's just my concern. Unless
I understand. Okay, the jail can move into the breakout room. If you accept the invitation, I've got the jail going to breakout room 1 with the public defenders. If do you see it?
No, ma'am.
There's an invitation for the jail.
I didn't get it yet.
I apologize. I didn't move y'all in there. Okay, there you go. I just moved you in. Actually, I just breakout room 1. Okay, we're good now. All right, so back to y'all. And so he said the hearing, didn't he say the hearing started at 9?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know. I don't know how. So how long you just had a parole hearing, Attorney Lewis? How long did it last?
It really depends on how many defendants you have. It can range from an hour. If there are multiple people on the calendar, it can range from 2 to 3 hours. I would assume social distancing.
Right, that's going to slow it down.
Slow it down just a tad.
I wonder if we need to just continue this, but continue it to another calendar. What are y'all's thoughts on this?
I'm fine. Will we still be heard on bond on Friday?
No.
Ugh.
I'm trying to think. Because here's what happened. I'm gonna go off YouTube. Okay, let me just close this down just because I don't.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to call Attorney Dansby, see if I can.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back on the calendar. Before the court took a recess. It wasn't really a recess, but before the court broke away, there were 3 cases that we mentioned that were remaining on the calendar. So I'd like to make the announcements on those 3 cases. This first case is a Mr. Antonio Brooks, represented by Attorney Florio and Attorney Jordan with Solicitor General's office. There has been a consent for bond and a bond waiver with conditions. And so Mr. Brooks can go back, Deputy Taylor, but there will be a bond amount of $8,000 with conditions, and that paperwork is going to be prepared by Solicitor General and forwarded to Attorney Florio and then back to the court for it to be finalized. It needs to be mentioned that Mr. Brooks will have a condition of no contact with the alleged victim, Ms. Tashada Steve. And I understand that she's requesting contact. She needs to understand, Mr. Brooks needs to understand there will be no contact because of the past and the case that's already on probation for and making contact in violation of the bond order. Ms. Steve, you need to understand you should not, and your attorney explain that to you, but his bond will be revoked if there's any further contact. He needs to finish up his programs and get the help that he needs without any interference, distractions, or obstructions. So you can discuss that with Attorney Florio. And also you have Attorney Martin, who definitely can explain to you. So that's going to be the announcement on Brooks. It is waived. That takes care of that case. Unless anybody else have any questions on the Brooks case, you can sign off if you'd like. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
And Judge, just procedurally, Mr. Jordan will email the order for bond to me, and then I can review it and then email it to Your Honor with Mr. Jordan on the email, or how is that how Your Honor would prefer it be done?
Attorney Jordan.
Email it to me, Florio.
Okay, yes, ma'am. I'll email.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Mary.
You're welcome.
Attorney Jordan, that's good, what he just said.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Great.
That's what we, that's what
And thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jordan.
All right. Please explain to your client, Mr. Brooks and Ms. Steve. Thank you.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right, y'all can sign off. All right, now.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now we have, we already said, so we only have one case. Let me make that announcement on the one that got reset on Mr. T. Times. All right, the next announcement is on position 35, State Jean Todd. That case is a conflict for the, it would be have been a conflict for the public defender's office. I guess we might need to see if he made any efforts to hire anybody. Deputy Taylor, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, do you have Dejan Ties around that you can get him to the mic, to the podium? Just
that because but I can get him back, Judge.
No, it's going to be reset anyway due to a conflict. I just we hadn't received any entry of appearance by any attorney, so that would lead me to believe he has not hired an attorney yet. And since it's going to be a conflict, I wonder why he didn't have one. I need to look at that paper. But anyway, anyone on this call for Mr. Ties, it is going to be reset regardless. And I need to find out if it's going to be reset to allow any retained attorney that he may have made efforts to secure, even though they have not filed an entry of appearance. But if he's made no efforts to hire an attorney, then we'll have to get a conflict attorney, and there will be a reset. And anybody that have any questions would need to talk to Ms. Angela Purvis, the court administration, and for the reset date and the new attorneys and the attorney's name. Other than that, if we get entry of appearance by Mr. Ty's attorney, we will reset it as well and get notice to his attorney, his new attorney. That takes care of that case. The only thing that is left now is the one hearing that we have, and we're about to proceed with that hearing. Second, position 21. So unless you have any, unless you have business with this case, State of Georgia versus Wilmer Alexander Oliveira. Unless you have business on this case, all the other cases have been handled. And this is the only case that's left. And we're about to go on the record with this case. So let's see. Before we start, let me get Attorney Jimenez. How do you pronounce your first name?
Surinder, Your Honor.
Okay. So court is now calling let me just go on the record. This is Clayton County Magistrate Court preliminary hearing calendar, August 4th, 2020. I'm Judge Richard Brown. Court is calling the case State of Georgia versus Wilmer Alexander Oliveira, represented by defense attorney Surrender Jimenez, and representing the State Solicitor General's office, Assistant Solicitor General. Is that going to be you, Attorney Lewis?
That would be me, Your Honor.
Okay, Attorney Julian Jordan, Assistant Solicitor General, representing the state.
Yes, Your Honor. I apologize. I was muted.
No problem. Okay, so now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 charges, and they are as follows. Simple battery.
Your Honor, may I interrupt?
Oh, yes, right.
Judge Brown, is the defendant present and listening?
Okay, thank you. Let's get, thank you for that, Ms. Tolan. I need to swear you in too. All right, so let's get Deputy Taylor. Can we get Oliveira to the podium?
Oliveira?
Yes.
Yeah.
Olivera.
Yes, Judge. You got to stand by.
You say stand by for momentarily, or are you going to take a minute?
It's going to take about 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. That's not too bad. All right, let me go on the record and indicate that the court is being assisted by a state certified Spanish interpreter, Ms. Jartu Toes. And at this time, I will administer the interpreter's oath. You solemnly swear affirm you faithfully translate from English to Spanish, Spanish to English, proceedings before the court in an accurate manner to the best of your skill and knowledge.
I do.
Thank you. Also place on the record that this is a Zoom hearing, also on YouTube for the public due to the COVID-19 and judicial emergency. These cases are being handled video conference. So we're standing by for Mr. Oliveira to be brought forward, and then we shall begin. Stand by. Deputy Taylor. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. He's still on the way up. He got mixed up with position number 20, Oliveira, and it was Oliveira. So he actually got sent back, but he's on the way back. He's literally 2 minutes out, Judge.
I don't know. Your 5 minutes wound up being 10, so that might be 4 minutes.
I'll call him right now again to see how far he's out.
All right. Well, thank you.
Your call cannot be completed and stop. Your call cannot be completed.
Good morning. Thank you for calling Sheffield Head Office of Residence with how may I help you?
It's House and 8, correct?
Yeah.
Did Mr. Oliveira step out yet?
Yeah, it's around like 3 minutes for him to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh! Hey, if you want to go down there and walk and get him, it's fine.
You know, we ain't go.
So y'all can't? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we.
I wish I had somebody that I could go down there. Hey, come on. You call him.
And you want to run down there again? All of the inmates is, those are closed.
Yeah, they're all closed.
Okay, as long as they are closed, I'm good.
Deputy Taylor, we can hear you guys.
Yes.
Okay, let me go back. We're still on YouTube. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've already announced. And so the case is, we're about to hear State of Georgia versus Wilmer Alexander Oliveira. He has 6 charges, 1 count of simple battery, warrant number 2020 WA11413, and 5 counts of cruelty to children in the 3rd degree, which warrant numbers 2020 WA11414, 415, 416, 417, and 418. Mr. Oliveira is represented by Attorney Surrender Jimenez, and the state is represented by Assistant Solicitor General Julian Jordan. All parties have announced ready to proceed. Court has already introduced and announced the Spanish interpreter, Ms. Jartu Toes, that oath has been administered.
May I have a moment, Your Honor, to apprise the defendant?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Buenos días, señor.
Buenos días.
Estamos aquí para conocer la causa del estado de Georgia contra Wilmer Alexander Oliveira. Hay 6 acusaciones en su contra. 1 de violencia simple, número de orden de arresto 2020 WA 11413, y 5 acusaciones de maltrato de menores en el 3er grado, con números de orden de arresto que terminan en 414, 415, 416, 417 y 418. El señor Oliveira es representado por el licenciado Surrender Chada Jiménez, y el estado está representado por el licenciado Julian Jordan. Las partes ya anunciaron que están listos para proceder y tenemos un intérprete que está asistiendo el caso. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. And thanks also for the reminder that this hearing is being translated. And so we will need to go slow, not slow, because Ms. Toes is excellent. But we need to keep in mind that she is translating or interpreting, and we'll need to keep that in mind as we speak. So I will ask the state to go ahead and swear in and proceed with your first witness.
And Your Honor, excuse me, I would like to invoke the rules of construction, please.
How many witnesses you have, Attorney Jordan?
Just 1, Your Honor.
All right, then you may proceed.
The state calls Officer Grace.
En este momento, señor Oliveira, el estado está presentando su primer testigo, la oficial Grace. Su abogado, el licenciado Chada Jiménez, pidió la regla de aislamiento de testigos, pero solamente hay un testigo de parte del estado. Thank you.
Can you raise your right hand for me, please, Officer Grace?
Levante la mano derecha, señor oficial.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give before the court via this Zoom hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Jura o afirma que el testimonio que va a presentar en esta audiencia por medio de Zoom virtual será la verdad y toda la verdad ante Dios lo jura. Sí, juro, señor licenciado.
Can you state your name for the court, please?
Officer Sade Grace.
Diga su nombre para que conste en actas. Soy la oficial Sade Grace.
Could you spell that, please?
¿Cómo se escribe?
My first name Sharda, last name Grace.
Thank you.
Nombre Sharda, el apellido Grace.
All right, Attorney Jordan.
And how are you employed, Officer Grace?
I'm employed with College Park Police Department.
¿En qué trabaja? Yo trabajo con la policía del College Park.
And how long have you been employed with the College Park Police Department?
A year and maybe 3 months.
¿Y cuánto tiempo ha estado trabajando con la policía de College Park? 1 año y 3 meses.
Are you post-certified?
Yes, sir.
¿Usted tiene la certificación post? Sí, señor. Sí, la tengo.
Were you on duty on July 2nd of this year, 2020?
Yes, sir.
¿Estaba usted de turno el 2 de julio del año presente? Sí, señor.
Were you called to a domestic disturbance at the residence of 2001 Godby Road?
Yes, sir.
¿Usted la llamaron por un disturbio doméstico en el 2001 de la Godby Road? Sí, señor.
And to your knowledge, is that located within Clayton County?
Yes.
¿Y hasta donde usted sepa queda dentro de los límites del condado de Clayton? Sí.
And what happened when you reached the residence of 2001 Godby Road on July 2nd?
When I reached the residence, it was Mrs. Rodriguez, the wife of Mr. Oliveira. She was standing outside with the children, and she was stating that Mr. Oliveira had assaulted Mrs. Rodriguez in front of the children.
One moment, please. ¿Qué sucedió el 2 de julio del año presente en el 2001 de la Godby Road? Cuando yo llegué, estaba la señora Rodríguez, que es la esposa del señor acusado. Ella estaba afuera con los niños y ella dijo que el señor Oliveira la habría agredido. Thank you. Please proceed.
And were you able to ascertain the information of the relationship between Ms. Rodriguez and the family?
Yes, when I spoke with Ms. Rodriguez, she said that she was friends with Mrs. Meza. I think that's how you pronounce her name, Ms. Meza.
¿Y pudo usted averiguar el parentesco o la relación entre la señora Rodríguez y la familia? Sí, ella dijo que era la amiga de la señora Meza, si le estoy pronunciando el apellido bien. Thank you. Please proceed.
And did she state that Ms. Meza was the one that was attacked?
Yes, she said they both actually were attacked.
¿Y ella dijo que la señora Meza fue la que fue atacada? Sí, ella dijo que ambas fueron atacadas.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Officer Grace, give me the names of the 2 people that you said were attacked.
Miss Rodriguez and Miss Meza.
Okay, hold on a minute. Hold on. Miss Rodriguez you said was the wife, correct?
No, Mrs. Rodriguez is the friend. Mrs. Meza is the wife.
Okay, slow down. The friend is Miss Rodriguez, and how do you spell Meza?
Meza.
Is the wife.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Miss Toll, you can go ahead.
Perdón la interrupción, señora oficial. Usted dijo que cuáles personas fueron atacadas. Fueron atacadas la señora Rodríguez y la señora Meza. La señora Rodríguez es la amiga y la señora Meza es la esposa.
All right, Attorney Jordan.
Thank you. And did you see any abrasions on Miss Meza or any signs of injury?
Not on Miss Meza, but on Miss Rodriguez, I did. She had bruises on her arms and her legs.
Miss Rodriguez
The interpreter may interrupt. Bruises on her arms and
legs.
Y, señor oficial, ¿usted llegó a ver alguna abrasión o indicación de lesión en la persona de la señora Mesa? En la señora Mesa no, pero en la señora Rodríguez sí, tenía moretones en los brazos y en las piernas.
Were you able to speak to Miss Meza at the scene?
Yes, actually, Ms. Rodriguez translated for her. When I spoke with Ms. Meza didn't really want to give me much information.
¿Llegó usted a hablar con la señora Mesa en el lugar del incidente? Hablé con ella porque la señora Rodríguez tradujo para ella y la señora Mesa realmente no me quería dar detalles sobre lo que había sucedido.
Did any of the children make a statement to you, Officer Grace?
Yes, sir.
¿Y alguno de los niños dio una declaración? Sí, señor.
Did they detail to you what happened?
Yes.
¿Y le dio detalles de lo que había sucedido? Sí.
Can you share with the court what you remember that they said?
Hold on a minute. Before we start, since we got 5 minors, we would need to know the name of which child and the approximate age and what was said.
I'm sorry. If you don't mind, is it okay if I go back to my my report to look at it? It's actually in my email.
Attorney Jimenez, you have any objection for the officer referring to her report to refresh her memory?
No objection to her representing her recollection. However, Your Honor, I would ask if all of this could be interpreted for my client, please.
It's about to be done now. Go ahead, Attorney Ms. Tola. I'll make you
Right.
today.
¿Puede usted compartir con nosotros? ¿Puede usted compartir con nosotros lo que dijo? El señor juez en ese momento interrumpe y informa que necesitamos para hacer eso saber los nombres de los 5 menores de edad, sus edades y qué fue lo que dijo cada uno. La señora oficial pide hacer referencia a su informe policial y el señor juez le pide a su abogado, el licenciado Chávez Jiménez, si tiene alguna objeción y él dice que no tiene ninguna objeción. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you're welcome. We'll stand by for Officer Grace to return and to be able to respond to the question.
Your Honor, for some reason, I'm unable to see the name of the child, but I know she was a 13-year-old female. I'm not seeing it.
Su señoría, por alguna razón, no veo el nombre de la menor. Yo sé que era una niña de 13 años, pero no veo su nombre aquí.
Okay. So, 13-year-old female, you are about to testify as to your communications with this individual?
Yes.
Entonces, la niña de 13 años, usted va a declarar sobre su intercambio entre usted y esa niña? Sí.
Would this be the only minor that you will be testifying in regards to any communication?
Yes, that's the only one that I spoke with. Well, that's the only one that spoke with me and let me know actually what happened. That just let me know what happened.
Y ella sería la única menor de edad con quien usted habló sobre lo que sucedió, sobre la cual usted va a declarar. Sí, ella fue la única con quien hablé que me explicó lo que había sucedido.
Did she indicate, or were you able to determine her relationship to anybody?
The juvenile, sir?
Yeah, the 13-year-old.
Yes, she was Miss Meza's daughter and the siblings of the other 4 children.
¿Y usted llegó a determinar la relación o parentesco de esa menor? ¿La menor de edad? Sí, la de 13 años. Sí, ella es la hija de la señora Mesa y la hermana de los demás niños.
All right, Officer Grace, you may proceed answering Attorney Jordan's last question. Go ahead.
Well, what she stated to me was that Mr. Oliveira does this on numerous occasions. He put his hands on her mother, well, assaulted her mother in front of the children. She didn't specify exactly what area of the body was struck, but she did say that he hit her numerous times.
Lo que ella dijo,
pushing her head down. I'm sorry.
Lo que ella dijo es que el señor Oliveira hace eso en varias ocasiones, que él agredió a la señora en la presencia de los niños. Ella no especificó exactamente qué área tocó, pero sí mencionó que le empujó la cabeza varias veces.
Go ahead, Attorney Jordan.
Officer Grace, did she state that this happened in front of her siblings?
Yes, she stated it happened in front of all of them.
Señora oficial, ¿y ella dijo que eso sucedió en la presencia de sus hermanos? Sí, ella dijo que sucedió delante de los hermanos.
Did you then have the opportunity to speak to Mr. Oliveira in this situation?
Yes.
Luego después tuvo usted la oportunidad de hablar con el señor Oliveira en este caso? Sí.
Is that individual present here in the Zoom hearing today?
Yes, sir.
¿Y esta persona está aquí presente en la audiencia por medio de Zoom? Sí.
Can you identify him via the piece of clothing that he's wearing right now?
He has on the orange jumpsuit.
¿Puede usted identificarlo con la prenda de ropa que lleva puesto? Lleva puesto un mono anaranjado.
Your Honor, please let the record reflect that Officer Grace has identified the defendant.
No, for the record.
Que queda constatado que la oficial Grace ha identificado al señor acusado. Constatado.
Did Mr. Oliveira make any statement to you about what happened, Officer Grace?
I just recall Mr. Oliveira stating that he wasn't sure what was going on, that he had been drinking, that they had gotten into an argument, just that they had been drinking.
¿Y usted consiguió alguna declaración al señor Oliveira? Él dijo, de lo que yo recuerdo, que no estaba seguro de lo que estaba pasando, solamente que él había tomado y ellos tuvieron una discusión. Fue lo único.
And based on your investigation, was a warrant taken out against Mr. Oliveira?
Yes.
Y basándose, señor oficial, en su investigación, ¿se levantó una orden de arresto en contra del señor Oliveira? Sí.
Was the warrant for assaulting Ms. Rodriguez or Ms. Mesa?
Miss Mesa.
¿Y la orden de arresto fue por haber agredido a la señora Rodríguez o a la señora Mesa? A la señora Mesa.
And was that based on your investigation, speaking to the children and speaking to Miss Rodriguez?
Yes.
Y eso fue debido a su investigación, las pláticas que había tenido con los niños y con la señora Rodríguez. Sí.
And specifically, I know you spoke earlier, Officer Grace, on abrasions that were on Miss Rodriguez. Was there any sign on Miss Mesa of any injuries?
Not on Miss Mesa, but it was some on Mr. Oliveira, on his neck and on his chest.
Yo sé que usted mencionó en particular unas abrasiones en la persona de la señora Mesa, pero, perdón, the interpreter needs to make a correction, Your Honor. Yo sé que usted mencionó específicamente unas abrasiones en la persona de la señora Rodríguez, pero había alguna indicación de lesión en la persona de la señora Mesa. En la señora Mesa no, pero en el señor Oliveira sí. Tenía, if the interpreter may ask, what exactly was on his neck, Miss Officer?
scratch on his neck and on his chest.
Él tenía arañazos en el cuello y en el pecho. Thank you, officer.
Did the witness, either Miss Mesa or the 13-year-old Officer Grace, state who struck who first?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Did anyone that you interviewed at the scene, did they state who struck who first?
No, sir.
¿Alguna de las personas que usted entrevistó en el lugar de los hechos dijo quién pegó a quién primero? No, señor.
No further questions at this time, Your Honor.
No tengo más preguntas en este momento, su señoría.
Attorney Jimenez, you may cross-examine.
Muy bien,
Thank you,
licenciado Jiménez, tiene derecho a contrainterrogar a la oficial. Gracias.
Good morning, Officer Grace. How are you?
Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. I just have a few questions now. To clarify, when you arrived there, who called the police?
I'm not certain who actually called the police. I want to say it's Ms. Rodriguez that called the police.
Buenos días, oficial Grace. Buenos días, señor licenciado. ¿Cómo está? Estoy bien. Ahora, quisiera clarificar, señora oficial. Cuando usted llegó ahí, ¿quién llamó a la policía? No estoy segura quién llamó a la policía, pero creo que fue la señora Rodríguez.
Okay. And now, Ms. Rodriguez, I don't think you touched on this on the record. Where does she live?
Can I refer back to my actual notes, my report?
Please go ahead.
Y la señora Rodríguez, yo no sé si usted mencionó eso en el testimonio directo, pero ¿dónde vive ella? ¿Puedo hacer referencia a mis apuntes? Sí puede.
Okay, Ms. Rodriguez stays in Douglasville.
La señora Rodríguez vive en Douglasville.
Okay. What time did this incident happen? When did you actually arrive to the house?
¿A qué hora sucedió el incidente? ¿A qué horas fue que usted en realidad llegó a la casa?
It looks like in the report that it was at 1:42.
Parece, según el informe, que fue a la 1:42.
1:42 in the afternoon?
No, in the morning.
La 1:42 de la tarde, no, de la madrugada.
So when you arrived there at 1:42 a.m., do you know what time the 911 call was actually made?
No, sir.
Cuando usted llegó ahí a la 1:42, ¿sabe exactamente a qué hora se hizo la llamada a 911? No, señor.
Now, when you arrived, was it just you or were there other officers along with you?
It was myself and another officer.
Cuando usted llegó, ¿fue usted solamente o usted y otros oficiales? Yo y otro oficial.
And what is the name of the other officer?
Officer Sewell.
¿Y el nombre del otro oficial? Oficial Sewell.
How do I spell that?
¿Cómo se escribe?
S-E-W-L-L.
S-E-W-L-L.
Now, Officer Sewell, does he speak Spanish?
No.
¿El oficial Sewell habla español? No.
You, Officer Grace, do you speak Spanish?
No, sir.
¿Y usted, señor oficial, habla español? No, señor.
When you arrived, were you or Officer Sewell equipped with body cams and microphones?
Yes, sir. Cuando usted llegó ahí, usted y el oficial Sewell tenían el equipo de cámaras corporales y micrófonos, sí.
So all of the interaction between you, Ms. Rodriguez, the 13-year-old child, my client, and Mrs. Mesa, all of that has been recorded in your body cam. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. It shows it in the bottom of the report, the time.
Entonces, toda la comunicación entre usted, la señora Rodríguez, la menor de 13 años, la señora Mesa, Fue grabado en la cámara corporal. Sí, y así aparece en el pie del informe policial.
Were these videos preserved and turned over to the solicitor's office?
I'm not certain, sir.
I am sorry, Attorney Jimenez. What was that question?
Were the videos preserved and turned over to the solicitor's office?
Que si los videos fueron preservados y entregados a la fiscalía.
Now, when you were being directed by the solicitor, you stated that when you arrived, Ms. Rodriguez was standing outside with the children.
Yes.
Ahora, cuando usted estaba bajo testimonio directo con el señor fiscal, dijo usted que cuando llegó la señora Rodriguez estaba afuera con los niños? Sí.
And was Ms. Mesa outside as well?
No, Ms. Mesa was inside.
¿Y la señora Mesa estaba afuera también? No, la señora Mesa estaba adentro.
When you first arrived, you started talking with Rodriguez.
Yes.
Inicialmente cuando llegó, hablaba con la señora Rodriguez, sí.
And now, is this a house or an apartment?
This is an apartment.
Ahora, ¿esta es casa o apartamento? Apartamento.
So these minor children are outside at around 1:40-something a.m. in an apartment complex. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Entonces, esos menores de edad están afuera en un complejo de apartamentos a la 1:42 de la madrugada, ¿correcto? Así es.
And when you arrive there, where is my client? Is he outside with them or is he inside the apartment?
No, he's inside upstairs in the apartment.
Y cuando usted llegó ahí, ¿dónde está mi cliente? ¿Está afuera o adentro del apartamento? Él está dentro del apartamento, arriba.
What about any neighbors? Is there anybody else out there because there was some commotion at 1:40 a.m.?
No.
¿Qué tal los,
anyone out there?
¿Qué tal los vecinos? ¿Había vecinos ahí afuera como había esa conmoción a la 1:42 de la mañana? No había.
Okay. You said you talked to one of the children, you talked to Ms. Rodriguez and my client, and you attempted to talk to Ms. Mesa. Did you talk to anybody else? Did you canvass the area and talk to any other witnesses, neighbors, people walking by?
No.
Entonces usted dijo que habló con uno de los niños, a la señora Rodríguez. Trato de hablar con mi cliente, la señora Mesa, pero usted buscó por el área. ¿Había alguien más con quien usted habló? No.
Are you planning on going back and talking to neighbors to see if they heard anything that happened that night?
¿Está pensando regresar ahí al área y hablar con los vecinos a ver si ellos habían escuchado algo que sucedió aquella noche?
No, sir, because I had statements from the 13-year-old and from Ms. Rodriguez.
No, señor, porque tenía las declaraciones de la joven de 13 años y de la señora Rodríguez.
Okay. And now Rodriguez, she speaks fluent English.
Yes, and Spanish.
Ahora, la señora Rodríguez domina el inglés, sí, y también el español.
Is Ms. Rodriguez a certified court interpreter?
No, sir.
La señora Rodríguez es un intérprete certificado por el tribunal. No, señor.
But you used Ms. Rodriguez as the interpreter to attempt to talk to the victim and to my client. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Pero usted utilizó a la señora Rodríguez para tratar de hablar con la víctima y mi cliente. ¿Correcto? Correcto.
When talking to my client, were you speaking to him in Spanish or in English or through an interpreter?
English, and I didn't go to Ms. Rodriguez with him. I just spoke with him. He spoke a little English.
Okay.
Cuando usted hablaba con mi cliente, ¿hablaba con él en español, en inglés o a través de un intérprete? En inglés. Yo no hablé con él a través de la señora Rodríguez. Él habló un poco de inglés.
Now let me focus on when you first arrive. You first arrive and you start talking to Rodriguez, and I believe in direct you said that she stated something along the lines that when she got there, she had observed him beating his wife.
Yes.
Ahora, vamos a hablar de cuando usted llegó ahí inicialmente. Inicialmente cuando llegó, dice que habló con la señora Rodríguez y ella le dijo a usted que ella había observado a él golpeando a su esposa. Sí.
When did she arrive to the residence?
¿Cuándo fue que ella llegó a la residencia?
I'm unsure.
No estoy segura.
How did she arrive to the residence?
¿Cómo llegó ella a la residencia?
She stated that she drove.
Ella dijo que llegó manejando.
When you were interacting with her, did you notice that she had been drinking?
Yes.
En su interacción con ella, ¿usted notó que había ella tomado? Sí.
But you don't know if she had been drinking before arriving or when she got there, did you?
No, she just stated that they all had been drinking.
Pero usted no sabe si ella había tomado antes de llegar ahí o cuando llegó ahí. No, ella solamente dijo que todos habían tomado.
And but did you ask anybody else what time did she arrive?
No, sir.
¿Pero usted le preguntó a alguien más a qué horas fue que ella llegó? No, señor.
When Your Honor, I'm sorry, let me plug in my phone because my battery's about to die.
How much longer, how many more questions you have?
I have a few more questions, Your Honor, and I do also have witnesses.
Okay, when you say few, how many is few?
I would like to get into
approximately how many more questions or how much more time do you think you need?
I probably need about 20 more minutes, Your Honor.
No, it's not going to be 20 more minutes. So let me just jump in and say this. All 5 counts of the cruelty to the children are going to need to be dismissed anyway, because on 16-570 on a simple battery, it's not going to, cruelty to the children 3rd degree is only allowed for a forcible felony battery or family violence battery. So all 5 of those charges are going to be dismissed. Any response from the state on that?
Tengo que interrumpir. De todos modos, las acusaciones de maltrato de menores en el 3er grado tienen que quedar desestimados. Según dispone 16, 15, 70, se tienen que basar en un delito grave con fuerza o una violencia doméstica. Así que de todos modos, esos 5 acusaciones de maltrato de menores en el 3er grado tienen que quedar desestimados. ¿Alguna respuesta de parte de la Fiscalía?
The 16-570 subsection D1.
Basado en 16, 15, 70, inciso D1.
So that leaves only 1 count of simple battery.
Entonces solamente nos queda con una sola acusación de violencia simple.
And with that, Attorney Jimenez, how many witnesses do you have?
I have the 13-year-old and Ms. Mesa, which is the alleged victim. 2.
2, okay. 2.
Yes, Your Honor.
¿Cuántos testigos tiene usted, señor Jiménez? Tengo 2.
Okay. And those 2, who are they?
¿Y quiénes son?
The 13-year-old and also Mrs. Mesa, which is the alleged victim.
Tengo a la menor de 13 años y a la señora Mesa, la presunta víctima.
What is the 13-year-old's name?
¿Cómo se llama la de 13 años?
Let me just a second. Her name is Andrea Carcamo.
Can you spell?
Permítame, se llama Andrea Carcamo.
Andrea Carcamo.
Andreacarcamo.
All right, before we go any further, did you say Miss Meza is one of your witnesses?
That's correct, yeah.
Antes de proceder, dice que la señora Mesa es uno de los testigos. Correcto.
And this is the wife.
Y ella es la señora.
That is the partner, yes, Your Honor.
Sí, la
There's
pareja,
a
sí.
difference between a partner and a wife, so we need to be clear since we're on the record.
Hay una diferencia entre pareja y esposa. Tenemos que hacerlo claro para que conste en actas.
You don't know. If you don't know, just say you're not sure.
I do not know if they're legally married, Your Honor. I do not know.
Si no sabe, puede decir que no está seguro. No sé si se casaron legalmente, su señoría.
Do you know, I'm talking to your attorney Jimenez, do you know if Ms. Meza gave a written statement to the police?
I know she, from talking to her, I know she
That's a
did
yes
not.
or no. That's just a yes or no. Do you know?
No, Your Honor.
¿Sabe si la señora Mesa dio una declaración a la policía? No, su señoría.
Officer Grace, did Ms. Meza give a statement to you?
Miss Meza did. Her daughter did. The 13-year-old.
Okay, so
Oficial
Meza,
Grace, la señora Mesa le dio una declaración. La señora Mesa no, pero su hija sí.
just answer the question. Ms. Mesa did not give you a written statement, Officer Grace? She
No,
did
sir.
Not.
La señora Mesa no le dio una declaración escrita, señor oficial Grace. No, no me dio
Did she
una.
give you a verbal statement?
¿O una declaración verbal?
No, sir. She wouldn't talk to me.
Okay.
No,
got it.
señor. No se va a hablar conmigo.
Okay, now, after everything that's been, I've dismissed those 5 charges, or indicated they're going to be dismissed, and gotten a few other questions asked and answered.
Después de todo eso, ya desestimé las 5 acusaciones y ya se ha hecho y contestado algunas preguntas.
Before we proceed any further on Attorney Jimenez's cross-examination, any objections or anything from the state regarding the court's motion to have dismissed those 5 charges?
Antes de proceder con el contrainterrogatorio del señor Jiménez, ¿alguna objeción del Estado sobre la desestimación de esas 5 acusaciones o algo más?
Your Honor, based on the officer's testimony and what we have in the report, and given the statement that at least the battery occurred in front of or in the presence of the 13-year-old daughter.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. And I know this complicates you, Ms. Toad. You said battery, you mean battery or simple battery?
The simple battery that had occurred in front of the...
Start again, because you said battery for the record. Go ahead.
That the battery itself happened in front of, that the simple battery happened in front of the child, and given 16-570 that you were mentioning previously, any D says any person commits the offense of cruelty to children in the 3rd degree when such person who is a primary aggressor allows a child under the age of 18 to witness the commission of a forcible felony battery or family violence battery. Here, he is at least the father, even though we're not sure if they're legally married, the father of the 13-year-old child. So the state would like to state that we would like to move forward on the cruelty to children charges.
Basándome en el testimonio de la señora oficial, su informe policial y de la declaración del testigo, que la acusación de violencia simple ocurrió en la presencia de los menores de edad, y tomando en consideración el sección 16.570 del Código, inciso D, que dispone que cualquier persona comete maltrato de menores en el 3er grado cuando permite a una persona menor de 18 años presenciar una agresión o violencia como delito grave o una violencia doméstica en la presencia de esa persona. El acusado es por lo menos el padre de la niña de 13 años. Entonces el Estado quisiera proceder con las acusaciones de maltrato de menores en el 3er grado.
Right. Attorney Jordan, is it your position that that subsection under 16.570 would include simple battery when it simply states battery or family violence battery?
That's correct, Your Honor. I do apologize about that. I understand now what the court is saying about that charge. The state agrees that we do not have the evidence to move forward on that. I apologize.
Entonces, licenciado Jordan, su posición es que el Código 16.570, inciso D, se refiere también a violencia simple cuando solamente dice violencia o violencia doméstica. Pido disculpas, señor juez, ya entiendo lo que usted me quiere decir. Y el Estado no tiene suficientes pruebas para proceder con esa acusación.
Your Honor, if I may,
Go ahead.
if the state could have an opportunity to
I'm
develop.
sorry. Let me just do this for
Yes,
the record.
Yes, sir.
Assistant Solicitor General Audrey Lewis is also together with Assistant Solicitor General Julian Jordan. They're handling this together. So now Attorney Lewis is speaking. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think the court is quite correct based on where the evidence currently stands with respect to Ms. Mesa. There was some testimony with respect from Officer Grace with respect to Ms. Rodriguez. I would ask for the state to have an opportunity to follow up with questions about that. I think that certainly based on the facts, there could be a battery, although the officer did not take out a warrant on Ms. Rodriguez. I'm sorry, on behalf of Ms. Rodriguez. It sounds like there was some physical contact between she and the defendant, not clear at this juncture. And so I think that could sufficiently form a battery.
If the interpreter may interrupt so I can give this chunk. I'm so sorry. Si me permite su señoría, y la señora que está hablando es la licenciada Audrey Lewis, otra de las fiscales que trabaja con el licenciado Julian Jordan. Su señoría, usted tiene razón con relación a la señora Mesa, debido al testimonio que dio la oficial Grace con respecto a la señora Rodríguez. I'm sorry, Ms. Lewis.
Yes.
Were you saying that there was battery? Could you explain again what you were saying about battery? I'm so sorry.
At this juncture, I requested that the court allow us to follow up with Officer Grace to get clarity.
Estamos pidiendo que su señoría nos permita hacer más preguntas a la oficial Grace.
To seek clarity on that interaction, as if the court did determine that constituted a battery.
Para clarificar esa interacción, como usted, señor juez, determinó que sí hubo una violencia.
Depending on what that information may provide, it could establish a battery.
Depende de lo que sale en esa información, puede quedar constatado un acto de violencia.
And of course, 17-729 provides this court, as a court of inquiry, the authority to commit the defendant for a different offense than what's stated in the warrant if evidence requires it.
Y claro, la sección 17.729 le autoriza al juez imponer cargos al acusado por otra acusación, aunque no es la misma que aparece en la orden de arresto si las pruebas presentadas en la audiencia confirman el acto.
And thank you, Your Honor, for the opportunity to clarify that position.
Gracias, Su Señoría, por la oportunidad de clarificar.
No, if I may.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, with due respect, the state has rested on their case in chief. They did reserve, I guess, to rebut. I do not believe I've opened the door for them to go back and continue to question the officer regarding Ms. Rodriguez's injuries, even if they. Go ahead, ma'am. Sorry.
Si me permite, Su Señoría, el Estado ya dijo presentado en cuanto a su presentación de su versión de los hechos. No creo que he dejado el paso abierto para que vuelva a interrogar a la señora oficial.
I need to stand by 1 second, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, sorry about that. Was somebody about to respond to Attorney Jimenez's response? Okay. All right.
Yes, Your Honor, just briefly, I don't think the state officially rested. I think where we are procedurally is Attorney Jimenez did a cross-examination.
Su señoría, no creo que el Estado ha concluido la presentación de su versión de los hechos, solamente que el licenciado Surrender tuvo la oportunidad de contrainterrogar el testigo, la testigo.
And so the state can have an opportunity to do redirect. Additionally, Attorney Jimenez has not began presenting evidence in this case. So procedurally, he's not harmed.
Entonces, el Estado tiene la oportunidad de hacer un segundo interrogatorio de la testigo. Como el licenciado Jiménez no ha iniciado la presentación de sus pruebas, pues no queda perjudicado.
And I do believe the witness did speak to Ms. Rodriguez's injuries on direct examination.
Creo que la testigo sí mencionó las lesiones de la señora Rodríguez durante la primera interrogatorio. El primer interrogatorio.
Okay, so at this point, I'm going to reserve a ruling on the, well, I will allow additional questioning, but I've interrupted Mr. Attorney Jimenez. I'm going to let him finish with his cross, and then State will have an opportunity to come back.
Voy a permitir preguntas adicionales, permitirle la oportunidad al licenciado Jiménez de terminar de contrainterrogar.
All right, so Attorney Jimenez, you may continue.
Yeah, sure. If I may just try to catch myself, I forgot where I was. I do believe when, officer, when you arrived, you started speaking to Ms. Rodriguez, and my client was inside when you arrived, correct?
Señor oficial, cuando usted llegó, usted empezó a hablar con la señora Rodríguez y mi cliente estaba adentro, ¿correcto? Correcto.
And, you know, actually, just a point of clarification. A line of my questioning goes as to whether or not the children actually witnessed, heard, saw. So that if the court's ruling is that those charges do not stand, and even if there is a charge of battery against Ms. Rodriguez, in testimony, in direct, it's already been testified, she doesn't live there. There's no relationship. It wouldn't be a family violence. So again, it wouldn't fall under subsection. So I can skip all that line of questioning, because even if they decide to go forward on a charge of battery towards Ms. Rodriguez, I don't believe cruelty to children would apply. So if I may just get clarification on that from the court, so I can skip that line of questioning, Your Honor.
Su señoría, una buena cantidad de mis preguntas tiene que ver con one moment. Tiene que ver con lo que la testigo atestiguó, escuchó o vio en cuanto a la presunta violencia. Y como usted ya ha decidido desestimar esas acusaciones de maltrato de menores en el tercer grado, la señora Rodríguez no vive ahí. Ella no tiene parentesco con las personas allá en la casa. Así que yo puedo saltar esas preguntas. Solamente estoy pidiendo clarificación.
Before we go any further, this raises the question, well, let me just say, because we are dealing through video conference and an interpreter, the court is going to ask Officer Grace why she didn't, did she charge, well, it doesn't appear that she charged the defendant with anything on Ms. Rodriguez. And since that's what's being requested as a possibility by the state, the court would like to ask the officer, did you charge? It doesn't appear you charged. I know I'm talking a lot for you to interpret. Let me just strike all that and just say, Officer Grace, did you charge the defendant with anything related to Miss Rodriguez?
No, sir.
Why not?
Oficial Grace, ¿usted le acusó al señor acusado de algo relacionado con la señora Rodríguez? No, señor. ¿Y por qué no?
Why not?
Miss Rodriguez stated that she didn't want to, she really wanted to get her friend help. That's what she stated.
La señora Rodríguez dijo que ella no quería, pues ella realmente quería conseguir una ayuda para su amiga.
Okay, so because Ms. Rodriguez says she didn't want her goal was to address the situation with her friend, that's why you chose not to charge the defendant with what he allegedly did to her?
Yes, sir. And because she said that she was breaking up the fight when she was being assaulted.
Entonces, como la señora Rodríguez dijo que solamente quería una ayuda para su amiga, por eso usted no le puso acusaciones en contra del señor acusado por lo que presuntamente él le hizo a ella, así es, señor juez. Ella estaba deteniendo la pelea cuando presuntamente fue agredida.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. So I will, I'm gonna just let the questions continue and then we'll see where we land after everything. So right now, I'll let Ms. Toles interpret what I just said.
Voy a permitir que las preguntas sigan y así vamos a determinar a dónde llegamos a parar.
All right. You can go back to Attorney Jimenez, finish this cross-examination.
Licenciado Jiménez puede seguir con su contrainterrogatorio.
Thank you. And I'll try to be brief, Your Honor. Now, officer, when she said that she broke up the fight, did she describe to you what the fight was like?
Señora oficial, cuando ella dijo que detuvo la pelea, ella describió cómo era la pelea.
She just stated that when she came in, she seen him hitting her. She didn't state where he was hitting her. She just stated that she seen him hitting her and pushing her head down.
Cuando ella me lo explicó, ella dijo que solamente vio que él la pegaba. No precisó ella exactamente dónde la pegaba. Solamente dijo que la pegaba y que estaba como empujando su cabeza para abajo.
All right, so you said she didn't say where he was hitting her, but did you say how? Was it punches, slaps, kicks, pushing against something? Exactly what type of aggression was alleged to have been done against Ms. Meza?
Y usted dice que ella no precisó en qué parte le pegaba, pero ella dijo patadas, cachetazos, ¿alguna información específica sobre esa supuesta violencia simple?
No, sir.
No, señor.
What part of the apartment did she observe this interaction between my client and Ms. Meza?
¿Y en qué parte del apartamento observó este presunto contacto entre mi cliente y la señora Meza?
She stated that it was in the living room. As soon as she walked in the door, she saw them.
Ella dijo que en la sala, que en cuanto entraba a la puerta, los vio.
And where was she walking from? Was she initially getting there and she saw this, or was she already there? Where was she walking in from?
¿Y desde dónde venía ella caminando?
Ms. Toth.
Sorry.
Counsel, make your question short because
yes,
you every time you ask question, you add a little bit at the end.
I'll be brief, Your Honor.
Right.
Where was she walking in from?
¿Desde dónde estaba entrando ella?
Sir, I'm uncertain. She just said she had already stated that they had been together drinking and that the children had told her that her mother was being assaulted, and that's when she came into the home.
Señor, no estoy segura. Ella me dijo que ya habían estado juntos, que todos estaban juntos tomando y que la hija le dijo que él había agredido a su madre.
So Ms. Rodriguez was hanging out with his 5 minor children at 1:30 in the morning while the parents were fighting in the living room?
Entonces, esa menor de edad, me corrijo, entonces esos menores de edad estaban ahí con la señora Rodríguez a la 1:30 de la mañana.
No, sir. That's not what I'm saying.
What are you
No,
saying?
señor, no, eso no es lo que estoy diciendo. Entonces, ¿qué está diciendo?
The children were inside of the home, sir. Ms. Rodriguez stated that they all had been drinking. Ms. Meza, Mr. Oliveira, and Ms. Rodriguez had all been drinking. I'm not sure if she was leaving to go home and the children call her back.
Your Honor, and I'm going to object. This is why I was going to object.
Objection, Your Honor. One attorney, one witness.
No, señor licenciado, los niños estaban dentro de la casa. La señora Rodríguez dijo que todos estaban tomando. La señora Mesa, el señor Oliveira y la señora Rodríguez. Yo no sé si ella iba de salida y luego los niños la volvieron a llamar para que regresara.
Your Honor, that's fine. If I may just have a brief moment to confer with Mr. Jordan.
I will stand by.
Su señoría, si me permite un momento para hablar con mi colega abogado.
Tell it if he gets tired of standing, he can have a seat for a minute. I know he's been standing a while.
Señor, yo sé que usted lleva mucho tiempo parado. Si se quiere sentar.
Hold on. And thank you, Your Honor, for that opportunity. I believe we're ready and the court's ready to proceed.
Okay, we get him stand back up, please.
Ok, señor, si se puede poner de pie otra vez.
All right. I think we left off with Attorney Jimenez asking a question and Officer Grace answering and Ms. Toes interpreted. All right.
The state would object to Attorney Jimenez's last question on the basis of the lack of personal knowledge here from Officer Grace. Officer Grace can only testify to what Ms. Rodriguez told her that she observed in that situation. Attorney Jimenez's questions seem to be.
Hold a minute. Everybody, hold a minute.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Everybody need to keep in mind that anytime you just talk more than one, every time you go on and on, Ms. Toles have to remember that, interpret that, and it's just, so please try to make your legal responses clear, concrete, and concise to the extent that you can. I know you cannot, even me, like what I'm doing. I'm doing the same thing.
Ms. Toles, I'm
doing the same thing.
It's okay. This is the whole new experience for all of us, and we're all trying to get used to it. I appreciate you all being patient with me.
Okay.
So,
see, Ms. Toles, that's the reason we have to be kind to her. She's so giving.
Yes.
Anyway, let me clear the record and say, please keep your responses clear, concrete, and concise as much as possible, including the court. Go ahead, Attorney Jordan. Please repeat what you were saying. Objection.
Okay. We're going to object, Your Honor, on the basis of lack of personal knowledge.
Su señoría, nos oponemos basándonos en la falta de conocimiento personal.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with the state. There's a complete lack of personal knowledge here, but either way, I still have, if the officer does not know, she can always say, I don't know, but I have a right to ask these questions.
Su señoría, desde luego que sí, estoy de acuerdo con el Estado. La falta de conocimiento personal de parte de la oficial, pero claro, si ella no sabe la respuesta, ella siempre puede decir que no lo sabe, pero sí tengo el derecho de hacer esas preguntas.
All right, Attorney Jimenez, repeat your question.
So, my understanding, I wish I could rewind this, Your Honor. My understanding is that where was she walking in from?
Lo que quiero entender es desde dónde ella venía entrando.
You're on mute.
I'm sorry. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know from.
You just know from outside. I'm sorry, is that what you said? Yo no sé, solamente sé que desde afuera.
Did she tell you where were the kids when she observed this, what she claimed to be a fight?
Y ella le dijo a usted dónde estaban los niños cuando ella observó lo que ella pensó era una pelea.
She stated that they were inside in the living room.
Ella dijo que ellos estaban afuera ella dijo que ellos estaban adentro en la sala.
So everybody is in the living room when this is going on.
Entonces todos están en la sala cuando eso está pasando.
Yes.
Sí.
Did she call 911 before or after trying to break up the fight?
Y ella marcó al 911 antes o después de tratar de detener la pelea.
I don't know.
No lo sé.
Do you know what the dispatcher told you to expect when you arrived?
¿Sabe usted lo que el despachadora le dijo que iba a esperar una vez que llegaba usted ahí?
A verbal dispute?
Una disputa verbal.
Okay. And when you spoke with the child, the 13-year-old child, you spoke with her one-on-one, or was there any other person present?
Y cuando usted habló con la menor, la de 13 años, ¿usted habló con ella solamente ustedes dos o había otra persona presente?
Ms. Rodriguez was present and Ms. Meza was present at some point in time.
La señora Rodríguez estaba presente y también la señora Mesa en algún momento.
When you're speaking to the child, is Rodriguez making any statements telling the child what to say?
Mientras usted hablaba con la menor, la señora Rodríguez está hablando con ella, indicándole qué es lo que debería de decir.
No.
No.
And can you tell me why didn't you take the child to a separate room so she would feel more comfortable to talk to you?
¿Y me puede decir por qué usted
Okay, hold
no
a minute.
selló al...
Counsel, you need to move on. I'm not going, we're not having the jury
Yes, Your
trial.
Honor.
All right, it's probable
Yes, Your
Señor
cause.
licenciado, pase a otro tema, por favor.
Were you able to determine, you said that my client had some scratches on him. Were you able to determine who did those scratches to him?
¿Llegó
No,
usted
sir.
a determinar, porque usted dijo que mi cliente tenía unos arañazos en su persona, ¿usted llegó a determinar quién se los hizo? No, señor.
Were you able to determine whether they were done with a weapon or with fingernails?
Neither, sir.
¿Y llegó usted a determinar si los arañazos se hizo con uñas o con un arma? Con
So
ninguno.
they were not done by either a weapon nor nails?
Counsel, you need to move on.
Yeah.
You got
Su
two more
señoría tiene que
you got two
pasar
more
a otro
witnesses.
tema,
You're not-
porque hay dos testigos más.
Already been
And just
told.
my last question, just to clarify, when you observed Ms. Mesa, you did not see any visible injuries on her, correct?
No.
Y cuando
Thank
usted
you. No
hablaba
further
con la
questions.
señora Mesa, usted no le vio ninguna lesión visible, ¿correcto? No. Gracias, su señoría. Ya termino.
Redirect.
Yes, Your Honor. You stated earlier, officer, that you did see physical injuries on Miss Rodriguez.
Yes.
Usted sí dijo, señor oficial, que vio lesiones físicas en la persona de la señora Rodríguez. Sí.
Did she state to you at what point those injuries occurred?
Ella dijo que en algún momento ocurrieron esas lesiones.
Stated that it occurred when she was breaking up the with Miss Meza and Mr. Oliveira.
Ella dijo que ocurrieron las lesiones cuando, en el momento de estar parando la pelea entre ella, la señora Mesa y el señor Oliveira.
Can you clarify for the court what those injuries were?
¿Puede usted clarificar para que quede constatado en el tribunal cuáles fueron las lesiones que tenía?
She had bruises in part of her arm and on her thighs, like on her legs.
Ella tenía moretones en una parte del brazo y también en los muslos, en la pierna.
And my final question, did she state who caused those injuries?
Mi última pregunta es, ¿ella dijo quién causó esas lesiones? Sí.
And who did she state caused the injury?
Mr. Oliveira.
¿Y quién fue que ella dijo que le causó las lesiones? El señor Oliveira.
And also, just to clarify, were you able to identify Mr. Oliveira?
Y para clarificar, ¿usted llegó a identificar al señor Oliveira?
Yes.
Sí.
One second, Your Honor, I believe. And just to make sure, you see that individual in court today?
Yes.
¿Y usted ve a esa persona aquí presente hoy? Sí.
No further questions at this time, Your Honor.
Muy bien. Ninguna pregunta más por el momento.
Recross.
Segunda contrainterrogatorio.
Officer, you said that she told you that my client caused the bruises on her legs and arms, correct?
Yes.
And that will be on you.
I'm sorry. Señora oficial, usted dice que ella le dijo que mi cliente fue el que le causó los moretones en los brazos y las piernas. Sí.
And that statement from her will be on your body cam recording, correct?
Yes, sir.
Y esa declaración que ella le dio a usted sí aparece en la grabación en el cámara corporal. Sí.
Now, can you describe to me what Ms. Rodriguez looks like? Is she light complexion, dark complexion?
I need you to hold that question. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Permítame un momento.
Okay, I'm sorry for the interruption, but they have me on double duty today, so I got officers waiting. I didn't notice it's going to take this long, but what's going to happen is I'm going to go ahead and finish the question of this officer, and then if we go to the next witness, I'm going to have to break away for about 10, 15 minutes. I apologize. So let's go to, I think, was it Recross?
Yes, Your Honor. My question was, what can you describe Ms. Rodriguez to me? What is her complexion? Dark skin, light skin?
She was light skinned.
Mi pregunta fue, ¿me puede describir cómo es la señora Rodríguez? ¿Es de tez clara, de tez oscura, de tez clara?
And you have a year and 3 months experience with this police department, correct?
Yes, sir.
Y usted
Have you always
tiene
worked?
1 año y 3 meses como policía, ¿correcto? Sí, señor.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Ms. Toll, but
I'm
please,
sorry.
everybody keep in mind, you have to wait, give Ms. Toll a chance to respond.
I apologize, Your Honor. I would pause.
Go ahead.
And you've had plenty of experience working domestic violence cases, correct?
I've had enough.
Officer Grace, you have to give Ms. Toll a chance to respond.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was just letting her go ahead and give her. I'm sorry. Y usted tiene bastante experiencia con casos de violencia doméstica. Tengo suficiente, sí.
What was your answer, officer? I didn't hear you.
I've worked a few.
Yo he trabajado algunos casos de violencia doméstica.
And there is a difference between how bruises look when they're recent as to when they've been around for some time, correct?
Yes.
Y hay una diferencia entre cómo aparecen los moretones, cómo se ven recién hechas y los que ya tienen tiempo, correcto.
Can you please tell me, how would you describe the bruises that you observed, Ms. Rodriguez? Were they recent or had they been there for a while?
Some look recent.
Y me puede describir cómo eran los moretones que tenía la señora Rodríguez. ¿Eran recientes o parecían que ya tienen tiempo? Algunos recientes.
If some look recent, is it fair to say that some look that they had been there for a while?
No.
Algunos parecían recientes. Entonces, si algunos parecían recientes, ¿sería justo decir que otros se veían como que ya tienen tiempo? No.
So you said some look recent. What about the others? How do you explain the others?
Entonces, usted dice que algunos parecen recientes. Entonces, ¿cómo explican los otros moretones?
I shouldn't have said some look recent. They look recent, sir.
No debía de haber dicho que algunos parecen recientes. Todos parecían recientes.
So whatever force was used on her was enough to show a bruise immediately, correct?
Yes.
Entonces, la fuerza que se haya utilizado en agravio de ella era suficiente para que un moretón se viera reciente, sí.
Yet, there was absolutely no thing that you could observe on Ms. Mesa, correct?
And we already asked that. Please don't ask the same question.
No further questions, Your Honor.
¿Y usted no observó nada en absoluto en la persona de la señora Mesa? No, usted ya hizo esa pregunta. Está bien. No tengo más preguntas para la señora oficial.
All right. Unless there are any other question of this witness, can she be excused?
No
Nothing
sé que hay
further
más
from the bench, Your Honor.
testigos para la oficial. ¿Se puede retirar? Nada de parte de la defensa.
Well, let me ask, Attorney Grace, did you say that the 13-year-old gave a written statement?
Yes, she did, sir.
Okay, you probably need to hang around there.
Oficial
All right.
Grace, la de 3 años dio una declaración escrita. Sí, la hizo. Entonces, por favor, quédese.
Okay, State, call your next witness. I'll tell you what, let me, I sure hate to do this, but I gotta tend to Steve Warren. So 11:37. You have 2 witnesses. You said Attorney Jimenez.
Yes, Your Honor, but the question will be very brief on my part.
Okay, well, with that, I think I'll go ahead. Call your next, call your witness.
Yes, I'm
sorry, hold, I forgot. I got to go back to the state. State, do you have any other witnesses?
The state has no additional witnesses, Your Honor.
¿El
Okay.
Estado tiene más testigos? No tenemos testigos adicionales.
All right, now we go to the defense. Call your first witness, Attorney Jimenez.
Yes, Your Honor, I was instructed by the court to not give the link until I was given permission. So let me just send this very quickly.
Okay. Let me, okay, court recess for 10 minutes. I'll see what I can do in 10 minutes. I'll be back.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Señor Oliveira, estamos levantando sesión por 10 minutos y ya después vuelve el señor juez, ¿ok?
No, de veras.
Estamos. Sí, estás en mute, dice, mira.
Sí, pero no sé. Hello. No sé.
Hey, we can hear you. You can mute your microphone for now. The judge is not on the bench. Just mute it for now.
Mute, digo que lo pongas en silencio.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry for the delay. Let's, everybody can come back on with Attorney Jimenez's cross-examination. And we need to, if possible, we don't need to have minors listening in. Minors need to be in a different room.
If I may tell her that real quickly, Your Honor. Señora, por favor que los niños se vayan a otro cuarto para que no lo vean, por favor.
Okay. And we need to stabilize the cameras. Otherwise we're gonna get a little dizzy.
I apologize. I had to take a bathroom break myself.
Yeah, Ms. Meza needs to stabilize her camera too. Okay, now we have Attorney Jordan.
Mesa o algo así.
So Ms. Toes. So ladies and gentlemen, now the state has rested. Now it's the defense time to present their witnesses. Ms. Meza, can you hear me?
El Estado ya terminó la presentación de su caso, entonces ya le toca a la defensa la defensa presentar su versión del caso. Señora Mesa, ¿nos puede oír bien? Oh, el micrófono está silenciado. Ahora sí.
Sí, le escucho.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Ms. Do you speak English?
Señora, ¿habla inglés? No.
No.
How long have you been in the United States?
¿Cuánto tiempo lleva usted aquí en Estados Unidos?
15 años.
15 years.
Okay. All right. All right, Attorney Jimenez, you may proceed.
Muy bien, proceda, señor licenciado.
Yeah, sure. Ms. Mesa, good morning.
Buenos días.
Buenos días,
Please raise your
señora
right
Mesa.
hand.
Buenos días. Levanta la mano derecha, por favor.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give to the court in the matter now pending before the court shall be the truth, the whole truth?
Oh, man, she need to be raising her hand. She got it on her chin.
Oh, señora, perdón. Tiene que levantar la mano derecha para tomar el juramento. Perdón.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give to the court in the matter now pending before the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Señora, usted jura solemnemente o afirma que el testimonio que va a presentar en este asunto, ahora pendiente ante el tribunal, será la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad ante Dios. ¿Lo jura?
Sí.
Yes.
Thank you. You can put your hand down.
Gracias, señora. Puede bajar la mano ya.
Now, Ms. Mesa, we've spoken before. I am Suri Chada. I am representing my client, the defendant in this case.
Bueno, señora Mesa, ya hablamos antes. Yo soy el licenciado Suri Chada y yo represento a mi cliente, el señor Oliveira, en este caso.
I just want to make it clear, I do not represent you. You are not represented, and you want to testify on your because you want to, but you do understand that I am not your attorney, correct?
Pero sí quiero que quede claro que yo no represento a usted, que usted está aquí sin representación legal, pero usted ha decidido dar testimonio porque usted misma lo quiere hacer.
Sí.
¿Así es?
Sí.
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Next question.
Okay. Do you remember the incidents that happened on the night of July 2nd?
Señora, ¿usted se acuerda del incidente que sucedió en la noche del 2 de julio?
Yo me vine para arriba, para mi cuarto como a la una y algo, y ellos se quedaron abajo platicando con unos amigos más. Y ya luego
came upstairs toward my room, and I know that they were downstairs talking with some other friends.
Y luego ellos se quedaron afuera.
And then they stayed outside.
La otra amistad de nosotros se fueron y ellos se quedaron.
And my other friends left and they remained there.
Después
now, just to clarify, who is them when you say them? Who is that?
Señora, para que quede claro, cuando usted dice ellos, ¿a quién se refiere?
A Alexander y a mi amiga Suhey.
To them, Alexander and my friend Suhey.
Now, who is Suhey? Tell the court a little bit more.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Counsel, we need to go straight to the alleged offense. We don't need all
Licenciado,
the
tenemos que ir directamente al presunto delito.
Yeah, just trying to avoid a foundation objection, but I'll jump right to it.
All right.
Estoy tratando de evitar que me pongan una objeción por falta de fundamento de pregunta.
Ms. Mesa, on that night, did your husband attack you and hit you?
Señora Mesa, aquella noche, ¿su esposo la atacó y la pegó?
No.
No.
Él no me tocó.
He did not touch me.
Do you remember that there was a conflict? Something happened that day?
¿Se acuerda, señora, que hubo un conflicto, que algo sucedió ese día?
Sí, ellos estaban afuera, mi esposo subió arriba, me estaba tocando para decirme algo.
They were outside. My husband was upstairs. He was touching me to tell me something.
Luego Suhey subió y se le vino encima y lo empezó a golpear y lo arañó todo.
And
y
then Suhey came upstairs. She hurled herself at him. She scratched him all up.
Why was Suhey, Ms. Rodriguez, why was she there?
Y señora Suhey Rodríguez, ¿por qué estaba ahí?
Ella me llamó para decirme que le hiciera el favor de traerla para mi casa porque ella no tenía internet ni tenía carro para venir a meter una
Permítame,
aplicación.
señora. Espérame, señora. I'm sorry, Mr. Chadha. I didn't hear a part of the audio went out. ¿Puede repetir?
Ella me llamó para que yo pudiera ir por ella a recogerla a su casa para poder ella venir a meter una aplicación para para el daycare de su hermanito y de su hijo.
She called me asking me if I could do the favor to pick her up to help.
No. I'm sorry to interrupt. No. What's the question?
Disculpe la interrupción. ¿Cuál es la pregunta?
My question was, why was she there?
Okay.
Mi pregunta es por qué la señora.
We don't need that long story.
Okay.
What would you like me to?
Go to the next question.
Your Honor, if I may, before we go to the next question, may we, I think Attorney Jimenez invoke the rule of sequestration. May we ask Officer Grace to come off the call and rejoin only if we need to recall her?
I see. Thank you for that.
La señora oficial pidió, el señor Chadha pidió que los testigos quedaran separados durante la audiencia. Entonces estamos pidiendo que la señora oficial se desconecta de la llamada hasta que la volvamos a necesitar.
So I can leave the call?
Yes, and we'll text you if we need you to rejoin.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Please stand by and be ready. All right. Thank you for that, Attorney Lewis.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. Repeat the question, Attorney Jimenez. Oh, and again, she's a witness and she's not an attorney, so she's liable to start telling everything that we don't need.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead.
I guess I just need to make one point about what did Ms. Rodriguez drive herself to your house or did you pick her up?
Si puedo hacer un punto, señora. ¿La señora Rodríguez llegó a su casa manejando ella sola o usted fue por ella?
Yo fui por ella porque ella me dijo que no tenía carro y que le hiciera el favor de irla a traer para meter esa aplicación.
So I went for her. I went to pick her up because she said she didn't have a car and that she needed my help to install this app. Or, I'm sorry, to put it in the application.
And after you drove to your home, the plan was for her to stay there and hang out with you guys?
Y después de usted ir a recogerla, ¿el plan fue que ella se iba a quedar ahí con ustedes?
No, ella fue y lo fuimos para la casa de mi otra amiga, donde fuimos a meter la aplicación de la casa de mi otra amiga, los venimos para mi casa y después ella dijo que quería tomar, que
answer was no. Answer was no.
No, we went to another friend's house, which is where we were going to put in.
Next question. Next question.
And okay, Ms. Mesa, because we're in court, just try to answer just my question. You don't need to go into too much detail, please.
Señora Mesa, como estamos en un tribunal, si nos haría el favor, por favor, de limitarse nada más a contestar lo que le pregunto.
Okay.
Okay.
No, ella no se iba a quedar aquí, pero
No,
ya luego ella decidió quedarse para que tomáramos algo, dijo, y mandó sus niños con el papá de los niños.
Answer was no. Answer was no. I'm sorry.
No,
go to the next question. Go to the next question.
Your Honor, do you want to hear the response?
No, you don't need to hear the response. Go to the next question.
Okay.
Did when you guys are together at the house, eventually you went to sleep?
Entonces ustedes están ahí juntos en la casa. Eventualmente usted se acuesta a dormir. ¿Así es?
That's a yes or no.
Sí.
Yes.
Before going to sleep, did you get in a fight with Mr. Alexander?
Señora, antes de dormirse, ¿usted se metió a pelear con el señor Alexander?
No.
No.
When you saw Ms. Rodriguez that night, when you saw her first, did you notice any bruises on her?
Señora, cuando usted vio a la señora Rodríguez esa noche, inicialmente cuando la vio, ¿usted le notó algunos moretones?
Sí, ella se había peleado con su esposo un día anterior y ella andaba un morado aquí por el brazo y andaba un aruñón aquí que su esposo se lo dio y su esposo andaba todo arañado en la espalda porque ella me mandó las fotos. Pero
Yes, because she had, un momento.
Yeah.
Yes, because she had gotten into a fight with her husband the day before. She had a bruise here. The interpreter would like to point out that when the witness said that, she was pointing to her arm. She also had a scratch here, if the interpreter may point out, when she said that, she was showing her chin area. And her husband was all scratched up on his back because she even sent me the photos of that.
Next question.
The bruises that you observed on her, was that before or after Mr. Alex had any interaction with her?
Y los moretones que usted le vio en la persona de ella, señora, ¿eso fue antes o después que ella había tenido esa interacción con el señor Alexander?
Antes, ella ya me había mandado esas fotos.
Before.
Fue un día antes de que yo la fuera a ver.
She had sent me the photographs, and that was from the day before.
Before, that's the answer. I don't need the rest of that. Next question.
You mentioned photographs. Levi, I'm gonna have to share my screen to lay the foundation for the photographs, or if the state has no objection, I do have two pictures that Ms. Mesa sent to me.
Señora, usted mencionó fotografías y señor juez, con su permiso, si puedo compartir mi pantalla con los demás participantes porque tengo dos fotografías que la señora compartió conmigo. Yes.
Any objection from the state?
¿Alguna objeción del Estado?
Can I receive those photos via email?
Yeah, I can send them right now.
¿Puedo recibir las fotos por correo electrónico? Sí, se los envío ahora.
So that they can get a chance to see them before they're public.
All right, court being recessed for 10 minutes if we don't do that.
And I just sent them to Mrs. Lewis' email.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll forward it to Mr. Jordan.
Es que la
I do not have it yet, Mr. Jimenez. Okay, it just came through. If you have anything else you are seeking, we'd ask the same, just so we don't have to break again.
Yeah, just those two pictures. And I mean, we can, I can lay the foundation, and we can just, if you want to stipulate that they're what she claims to be.
Who are these supposed to be?
According to Ms. Mesa, from when I talked to her, she told me the picture of the man is Ms. Rodriguez's husband, which are the scratches that Mrs. Rodriguez gave to him days before this when they got in a fight. And the bruises that Ms. Rodriguez has, that scratch, is because she had gotten in a physical fight with her husband. And those pictures were sent to Ms. Mesa before any of this even happened. So these are not pictures after the interaction with my client, but that's why she had bruises. That's my whole point of this line of questioning.
Okay. I'd be curious that she can lay the foundation for Ms. Rodriguez's photo.
I can go through and lay in the foundation if you want me to. I'm just trying to make it short.
No, I mean, I understand. I guess I'll have to wait to see what her answers are, but I don't know if she's going to be able to.
All right, let's proceed. Sorry for the delay.
Yeah, Judge, I had a chance to talk to the state. I do believe they don't want to stipulate, so I will lay the foundation for this picture, Sean.
Tu señoría ya tuvo la oportunidad de hablar con la señora fiscal y no quieren estipular en cuanto a las fotografías, así que voy a fundamentar las fotografías.
Ms. Mesa, I'm really I don't know how to do this to showing her the pictures before publishing it. I have to publish them because of the technology, Your Honor. Is that need some guidance on this?
Su señoría, yo no sé cómo hacer eso. No sé cómo enseñarle a ella las fotos sin hacerlas público para la conferencia.
Let's finish the question and we'll come back to the pictures.
Okay.
Bueno, terminemos con las preguntas y luego volvemos a las fotos.
Ms. Mesa, you sent some pictures to me earlier today, correct?
Señora Mesa, hoy antes me envió algunas fotos, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
What were those pictures? Where did you get those pictures from?
¿Qué eran esas fotos? ¿De dónde consiguió usted esas fotos?
Ella me las mandó diciéndome que se había peleado con su esposo y que la había maltratado. Y entonces
she sent them to me saying that she had had a fight with her husband and that he had mistreated
I'm sorry
her.
to interrupt. Just where did you get them from? She sent them to me. That's the answer. Next question.
When you saw those pictures, are they a true and accurate representation of how she looked the day you saw her?
Señora, cuando usted vio esas fotos eran una representación verdadera y exacta de cómo ella era cuando usted la vio ese día.
Sí.
Yes.
Permission to publish.
Pidiendo permiso para hacer público las fotos, su señoría.
Between two of us, I don't know if we can figure it out. If we can do it real quick, otherwise we'll come back at the end.
I think you can see my screen right now.
I see it.
Ms. Mesa, who is that in this picture?
Señora Mesa, ¿quién aparece en la foto?
Suhey.
Suhey.
Did she look? What about that picture comes up to mind when you see it?
¿Qué es lo que le llama la atención?
That's too broad of a question to ask her. Now you got to be more specific.
What? Yes, I know she likes to go on tangents. Do you see anything in particular on her neck that you like to tell the court about?
We can see it, Counselor. We can see it.
Yep. Okay.
We can see it.
This picture shows that Ms. Rodriguez has a scratch on her neck. Did she have that scratch when you saw her on July 2nd when she arrived to your house?
Señora, en la foto aparece la señora Rodríguez con un arañazo en el cuello.
Sí.
Entonces, ¿ella tenía ese arañazo cuando usted la vio en su casa el día 2 de julio?
Sí, un día antes se lo había peleado con su esposo y se lo hizo.
Yes, the day prior, she had a fight with her husband and he did that to her.
Aside from this picture, were there any other injuries that you remember seeing on her on July 2nd when she first
already
arrived?
testified to that, Counsel. She already testified to it.
Well, yeah, I have, I think the other picture is, I've sent it to the state, but I'll move past that just for the sake of time. No further questions, subject to redirect.
All right, cross-exam from the state.
No tengo más preguntas para usted, señora, pero la fiscalía ahora le va a hacer preguntas.
And Your Honor, if I may be permitted to cross-examine this witness.
Just, okay, if it's going to be cross-examined by you, then it'll only be by you.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
Go ahead.
Senora Mesa, can you, you just testified that was the state that you saw Ms. Rodriguez in when she came to your house that day?
Señora Mesa, usted está declarando que en ese estado llegó la señora Rodríguez a su casa ese día.
And did you decline to speak to police when they were arriving in reference to this incident?
Y usted declinó hablar con la policía cuando ellos llegaron por el motivo de este incidente?
Yo no pude hablar con la policía porque yo no hablo inglés y ellos no trajeron a alguien que hablara español.
I couldn't talk to the police because I don't speak English, and there was no one brought to translate.
Ms. Rodriguez speaks Spanish, correct?
La señora Rodríguez habla español, ¿correcto?
Sí, pero si ella los está atacando, no voy, o sea, no me voy a decir lo que ella diga para que lo digan otra cosa, si está diciendo cosas
Right,
que no.
but if she's attacking him, I'm not going to tell her what happened so that she can say other things.
Yeah, did you attempt to request that someone speak to you, a translator be brought out to you?
¿Pidió usted, señora, que le trajera un traductor o traductora?
Sí, yo les pedí un traductor y no me lo quisieron traer y más bien me regañaron. Entonces les dije que eran unos racistas. Y el oficial se molestó.
I did ask for a translator and they didn't want to bring one and they got upset. And so I told them that those officers were racist.
Okay. But you allowed your 13-year-old daughter to provide testimony to the officer through Ms. Rodriguez, correct?
Pero usted sí permitió a su hija de 13 años dar su testimonio al oficial a través de la señora Rodríguez, ¿correcto?
No es cierto, yo no les di permiso que ellos pudieran hablar con mis hijos.
That's not true. I didn't give them permission to speak with my children.
You didn't try to prevent, you were present when Ms. Rodriguez was translating between your daughter and the officer, correct?
Usted no trató de impedir, o usted estaba presente cuando la señora Rodríguez traducía para su hija.
Yo les dije a mi hija que no hablaran, pero igual el oficial se puso a hablar con ellos. O sea, mi palabra no valió nada.
I told my daughter not to speak, but even still, the officers started talking to them. So my word didn't mean anything.
And you didn't try to, so the answer to that is you didn't try to stop her.
Entonces la respuesta es que usted no trató de detenerla.
Pues yo le dije a mí, porque pienso que ella les dijo que ella dijo, Rodríguez dijo que yo había dado permiso. Pero igual, lo que los niños dijeron, pues, es lo que los niños digan. Pues no me puedo pelear en eso, ¿verdad? Pero
I'm thinking that that Miss Rodriguez said that I had given permission, but whatever my daughter said, I mean, I can't say anything against what my daughter said.
But you didn't attempt to stop her, your minor
Objection,
child.
asked and answered.
Pero usted no intentó detenerla.
Objeción,
ya preguntado y ya contestado.
I didn't hear yes or no to the question. So did you try to stop her or not?
No escuché una respuesta de sí o no a la pregunta. ¿Usted trató de detenerla o no?
sí, le dije a las niñas que no hablaran.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
I told my daughters to not speak.
Okay, that's the answer. Next question.
And Your Honor, actually, that question was going to be physically stop her. I just didn't get completed.
All right.
Before the objection, did you make an attempt to physically stop her or intervene when the officers were speaking to your child?
Que si usted intentó detenerla físicamente o intervenir cuando los oficiales intentaron hablar con ella.
Objection, Your Honor, relevance. It sounds like the state would have wanted my client to assault an officer and physically prevent an officer to approach her daughter.
Pongo una objeción. La pregunta no es pertinente porque al parecer la fiscalía está insinuando que la señora debería haber agredido al oficial para impedir que hablara con sus hijas.
No, yo no puedo hacer eso.
Hold on.
I can't do that.
Hold on. Attorney Lewis, what's your response to the objection?
That's not the state's intention at all. It's highly relevant because it goes to her credibility. She's indicated.
I overrule the objection.
No fue la intención de ninguna manera porque eso habla de su credibilidad. Sí es pertinente. Niego la protesta.
Repeat the question.
Did you make an attempt to physically intervene by stepping between your daughter and the officer or otherwise physically preventing her from speaking to officers?
La pregunta es que si usted intentó impedir físicamente que los oficiales hablaran con su hija, como por ejemplo poniéndose físicamente entre ellos para que no hablaran o utilizando otro método para impedir que hablaran.
No, yo solo le dije verbalmente a mi hija que no tenía que hablar cosas que no, o sea, que tenía que hablar con alguien, pero cuando lo tendría que hablar, no así, porque igual siempre toman a las cosas a su manera, ¿sí me entiende? Aparte, yo no sé lo que ella está diciendo.
I just verbally told my daughter that she doesn't need to be saying things that aren't, that she only needed to speak when it was necessary to speak. And you know that people take things the way they want to take them. So.
Y tampoco me voy a meter porque me van a llevar.
No. Next question.
So your statement to her was people take things the way that they want to take them. Is that the true reason why you didn't want to speak to the police officers?
Entonces, como usted dice que las personas toman las cosas a su manera, ¿eso sería la razón verdadera por la cual usted no quería hablar con los oficiales?
Sí, porque luego a mí me ha pasado ya que uno dice una cosa y ellos dicen otra. Y
yes,
luego,
because it's already happened to me, that you say one thing and they say something else.
All right, next question.
And since this arrest, have you spoken with the defendant?
Since what, I'm sorry?
The arrest.
Okay. Y después de que el señor acusado fue detenido, señora, ¿usted ha vuelto a hablar con él?
Sí, yo he hablado con él.
Yes, I have spoken to him.
I'm sorry, Ms. Tolles. How often have you spoken to him?
¿Y cuán frecuente usted ha hablado con él?
Nosotros hablamos diario.
We speak daily.
Porque nosotros no tenemos ningún problema.
Because we don't have any issues.
Okay. And have you also allowed him to speak to your daughter, the 13-year-old?
¿Y usted también ha permitido que hable con su hija, la de 13 años?
No, con ninguno.
No, with none of them.
Have you spoken to him?
What was your question?
Objection, relevance.
Yo me opongo, su señoría. La pregunta no es pertinente.
Response to the objection.
¿Cuál es su respuesta a la objeción?
It's relevant because, I mean, I can wait until we talk to the child and it may become more relevant then.
All right, we'll wait. Next
Es pertinente, pero podemos esperar a hablar con la niña.
Did you observe the officer looking at injuries on Ms. Rodriguez?
Señora, ¿usted observó cuando la oficial estaba mirando las lesiones en la persona de la señora Rodríguez?
No.
No.
Yo estaba afuera con...
Nothing else. No. Next question.
Okay. Did she attempt to try to look at you for injuries?
I'm sorry, Ms. Solicitor. Did she attempt? Who are you returning?
I'm sorry. Did Officer Grace attempt to look at Ms. Messa's body for injuries?
Oh, okay. Y señora, perdón, la oficial Grace intentó mirar la persona de usted para ver si usted tenía lesiones.
A mí no me checó.
She didn't check it. She didn't check me.
No. Next question.
Thank you. Did you voice any objections to that?
¿Y usted se opuso a eso?
No me opuse porque no tenía nada.
No, I didn't object because nothing was wrong with me.
Okay. And so you had no objection to her observing you, but you had an objection to her speaking with you.
Entonces usted no se oponía a que ella la observara, pero sí se oponía a que ella hablara con usted.
Porque no puedo hablar porque tampoco le voy a entender.
Because I can't speak to her, I'm not going to understand her.
And Your Honor, I have no further questions of this witness.
Su señoría, no tengo más preguntas.
All right. Next witness.
Yes, again, just to clarify, the other witness, the child, her testimony, it might be a little cumulative as to the charges where Ms. Mesa is the victim, but most of her testimony goes to the cruelty to the children. So if those charges are being dismissed, then I don't need to call her.
Those charges.
Su señoría, entonces el testimonio de la menor de edad puede ser cumulativo porque si hemos hablado sobre las lesiones que presuntamente recibió la señora Mesa y básicamente va a hablar sobre la acusación de maltrato de menores. Si usted ya va a desestimar ese caso, esas acusaciones, entonces no tengo caso para llamarla como testigo. Sí, esas acusaciones quedan desestimadas.
Those charges are being dismissed.
No further witnesses, Your Honor.
Está bien,
All right.
entonces no voy a presentar más testigos.
All right, no other witness for the defense. Does the state have anything else?
No hay más testigos para la defensa y el Estado tiene algo más que presentar. No sucedería.
Okay, then I need to, do we know if the defendant had a bond condition to have no contact?
¿Sabemos si el señor acusado tenía una condición de fianza que impedía contacto?
Your Honor, if I could just have one moment to review, I could probably have my investigator pull that bond.
Si me permite un momento, voy a poner a mi investigador
And
a averiguar los detalles de la fianza.
Sorry, again, interpreter tolls.
That's okay.
He's indicated he's looking into it right now, Your Honor.
El investigador lo está mirando ahora.
And he has not posted bond, so he has not agreed to any conditions that were imposed on him. He's still in custody, has not paid any bond.
Su señoría, él todavía no ha depositado fianza, así que no está bajo las condiciones que presuntamente son impuestas. Sigue detenido.
He wouldn't have to agree. If he went to first appearance, it would have been presented to him as a bond and a bond condition for his signature.
Él no tendría que asentar si él asistió a la comparecencia inicial, entonces le habrían informado de esa condición como una condición de fianza y él habría firmado.
Again, Your Honor, my argument is that it is a condition of bond. If a bond is not posted, then there's no conditions to apply to a non-existent bond that has not been posted.
Lo que quisiera enfatizar, señor juez, es que eso es una condición estando bajo fianza. Y si la persona no ha salido bajo fianza, entonces no tendrá que acatarse a las normas de fianza. El señor juez dice que no es cierto.
Your Honor, Investigator Bryan is unable to pull up any images from magistrate court. Something Ms. Moultrie may be able to assist us with. Would she have access to the bond orders?
Okay, so tell me again.
This is, I'm sorry.
For you want the bond orders for first appearance?
Yes, Your Honor, with respect, I'm sorry, yes, Miss Mary, with respect to this defendant.
What's his last name again?
While we're looking, Attorney Jimenez stated his position about whether that bond condition would be in effect if he had not made bond. Any response from the state?
Your Honor, the conditions of bond are applicable whether or not he makes bond, because he can, presumably if he's released, he can't have contact with her. He certainly can't have contact with her while he's currently in custody. Matter of fact, I think in the case that we handled this earlier this morning with Mr. Florio, we kind of specifically covered that problem. That's traditionally how these bond conditions are violated, that individuals contact the victim while they're in custody, and the way
if I may.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Señora licenciada de la Fiscalía, ¿tiene usted algún comentario, objeción a los comentarios del licenciado Chadra? Sí. Si existe una condición de ningún contacto, si una persona sale bajo fianza, entonces, claro que tampoco una persona acusada no puede tener contacto aunque no haya salido de la cárcel. Así frecuentemente, de esa manera, se incumplen las normas de fianza porque la persona detenida llega a tener contacto con la presunta víctima. De hecho, ya tratamos un caso con circunstancias parecidas antes, esta mañana, de lo mismo.
And I know that the court is very diligent about explaining that to defendants when bond is set. Otherwise, bond would be denied.
Y yo sé que los jueces son muy diligentes al explicar esas condiciones a los detenidos cuando se impone fianza, porque si no, se les negaría la fianza.
Okay, while we're waiting, we'll go ahead to closing unless anybody else have any other witnesses or evidence.
We do, Your Honor, at this time.
Mientras estamos esperando, pueden pasar a los argumentos finales, a no ser que uno de ustedes tiene algo más que presentar. Nada de parte del Estado en este momento.
What did the state say?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
¿Qué dice el
On
Estado?
closing argument, what was your response?
With respect to the bond order issue or the simple battery?
The case itself.
Your Honor, with respect to the simple battery charge, this is a probable cause hearing. I know the court said that many times during the hearing to remind the attorneys of this.
En cuanto a la acusación de violencia simple, estamos celebrando ahora una audiencia preliminar. Yo sé que usted dijo eso varias veces para recordarnos a los abogados.
And so there's a different threshold here for probable cause than there would be, if this were a trial.
Entonces, hay un umbral diferente en cuanto a causa probable, diferente de lo que sería necesario para un juicio.
And so what we're looking at is whether or not the testimony sufficiently suggests that it's likely that a particular crime was committed.
Entonces, lo que hay que considerar es que si el testimonio presentado sugiere que es probable que un delito ha ocurrido.
And Officer Grace testified that Ms. Rodriguez indicated that the defendant struck Ms. Mesa.
Y el oficial Grace testificó que la señora Rodriguez indicó. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
No. One moment. I just need a moment to get my brain together. Okay. Y la oficial Grace testificó que la señora Rodriguez le dijo que el señor acusado había pegado a la señora Mesa. Thank you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. And according to the officer, the 13-year-old juvenile corroborated this.
Y según la oficial, la menor de 13 años también corroboró ese testimonio.
And indicated that this has happened before.
Y indicó que eso había pasado antes.
And so, additionally, there don't need to be injuries for a simple battery. In fact, that is contemplated in the charge itself. So the lack of...
Y además, no tiene que haber lesiones para que existe una acusación de violencia simple. El mismo cargo lo sustenta.
So the lack of injury cannot be used as a basis to invalidate the credibility because the charge itself contemplates no injury.
Entonces, la falta de lesiones o la inexistencia de lesiones no invalida la acusación en sí, porque la misma acusación dispone que no tiene que haber lesiones.
The defendant, through Ms. Mesa, has put forth pictures of Ms. Rodriguez, suggesting that the injuries the officer saw came from a prior altercation.
El acusado, a través de la señora Mesa, presentó fotografías alegando que las lesiones que aparecen en ellas son de un incidente anterior.
While foundationally they are admissible, its weight is diminished because Ms. Mesa could not provide any information as to when these pictures were taken by her own personal knowledge.
Mientras se pueden presentar esas fotografías, el peso que llevan es menor porque la señora Mesa no pudo dar información precisa sobre dónde o cuándo fueron sacadas esas fotos.
And she testified that that was the exhaustion of the injury she saw, but the officer testified that she at least observed injuries also to the leg or thigh area of Miss Rodriguez.
Y ella declaró que eso fue la totalidad de las lesiones que ella vio, pero la oficial dijo que también había lesiones en los brazos y piernas.
Objection, Your Honor. Misstatement of the evidence. I do believe the witness did testify that she also saw bruises. She just doesn't have pictures of them.
Yo me opongo en cuanto a la manera que ella recita las pruebas. Mi cliente también indicó que ella sí tenía lesiones, solamente no tenía fotos de esas lesiones.
Your Honor, if I may respond, the foundational question asked by Mr. Jimenez was, is this a fair and accurate depiction of what you saw her injuries to be that day? He said yes. So either way, if it wasn't exhaustive, then her answer is incomplete. If that wasn't truthful, then her answer is incorrect and false.
And if I may remind you, she even said, pointed to her arm and said she had bruises here, and also pointed to her leg. And the interpreter made a point of indicating that she's pointing to parts of her body.
Okay, I'm just talking about the foundational question you asked. And so
Ahora están, I'm going to try to. Si la pregunta que hizo el licenciado Chadra para plantear un fundamento de las fotografías, cuando él le preguntó, ¿esa fotografía es una representación correcta y exacta del estado de la señora en el momento que usted la vio? Y ella respondió que sí. Entonces, o la respuesta fue incorrecta. Your Honor, I apologize. I am not going to be able to give a correct interpretation of the last question and answer. Could I ask the attorneys to please summarize that question and response, or to repeat it? I apologize.
I think that Attorney Jimenez objected to my characterization as her saying that that was exhaustive injuries that she saw. And I think he said that he believed she testified that she pointed to her arms to show other places where Ms. Rodriguez may have injuries.
Thank you so much. Entonces, el señor Jiménez puso una objeción porque la licenciada dijo que lo que aparecía en la foto fue la totalidad de las lesiones. Y el señor Jiménez puso una objeción porque él dijo que la testigo hasta nos enseñó con gestos que tenía moretones en el brazo y en las piernas.
The court overruled the objection. The court will recall the evidence. You may continue.
Yo niego la protesta porque recuerdo las pruebas. Adelante.
And Your Honor, at this point, because we have the burden, I would just state that I think we've provided the proof by the standard of probable cause, but I would reserve.
En este momento, su señoría, como tenemos la obligación de probar, yo creo que con las pruebas presentadas hemos cumplido con la obligación de demostrar que existe fundamento en las acusaciones.
But I would reserve an opportunity to respond if need be to the defense briefly.
Pero quisiera reservar la oportunidad de responder al argumento final de la defensa, si me permiten.
All right, Attorney Jimenez, you're closing.
Yes, Your Honor, we would like to argue that there is no probable cause for a charge of simple battery, which I do believe that's what the state said that they were seeking.
Sí,
Today,
su señoría, quisiéramos argumentar que no existe fundamentos para la acusación de violencia simple. Creo que esta es el cargo o la acusación que el Estado está buscando en contra de mi cliente.
Today, the state brought forward one witness, which was Officer Grace, who testified that somebody else had told her that the victim, Ms. Mesa, had been attacked.
Sí, porque el Estado presentó una solo testigo, la oficial Grace, que dijo la oficial Grace presentó una solo testigo que le dijo que otra persona le había dicho que la señora Mesa fue atacada sin conocimiento personal.
This other person was Miss Rodriguez, and Miss Rodriguez, according to the officer, said that she had to stop my client from attacking Miss Mesa. However, later on, the officer also testified that she saw absolutely no injuries from this attack that had to be physically stopped by Miss Rodriguez.
Esa otra persona fue la señora Rodríguez, que dijo que ella tenía que impedir que mi cliente atacara a la señora Mesa, pero cuando la oficial vio a la presunta víctima, ella no tenía ninguna lesión en su persona.
Our witness that came forward described Miss Rodriguez as somebody that, in my interpretation, had been distraught. She had just come from her own home where she had been the victim of violence.
Y cuando presenté mi testigo, ella explicó que la señora Rodríguez era una persona, en mi opinión, alterada, afligida, porque ella había sido víctima de una agresión física en su propia casa.
This person who had just recently been the victim of domestic violence came over to my client's and Miss Mesa's home, possibly to seek refuge, and started drinking.
Entonces, esa persona que fue víctima de una violencia doméstica en su propia casa fue a la casa de mi cliente para buscar refugio.
According to the officer, Ms. Rodriguez told her, and this on direct, the officer said Rodriguez drove herself there and was visiting and then continued to drink. However,
en el testimonio directo, la señora oficial dijo que la señora Rodriguez le dijo que ella llegó ahí manejando, se quedó ahí y luego siguió tomando.
The officer could not give us specifics to when she arrived, how she arrived, what type of car she drove.
Pero el oficial no pudo precisar cuándo llegó, a qué hora llegó, when she arrived. I'm sorry.
And what type of car she drove.
Yes. Y en qué clase de auto llegó.
Ms. Mesa testified that she actually was the one that had gone picked her up, and because they're acquaintances, and she was doing a favor.
Entonces la señora Mesa declaró que ella fue a recogerla porque son conocidas y le estaba haciendo ese favor.
Although I do acknowledge, and as a former prosecutor, I know very well that the threshold for probable cause is extremely low.
Aunque yo sí reconozco, como yo fui fiscal anteriormente, que lo que hay que probar para sustentar causa probable en un caso es muy poco.
However, here I do believe that we have the witness we brought forward does throw a lot of questions as to the credibility of the only witness that the officer talked to, which is Ms. Rodriguez.
Pero sí, quisiera decir que el testimonio que el testigo que he presentado sí pone en tela de juicio el testimonio del único testigo con quien habló la oficial, que es la señora Rodríguez.
Ms. Mesa, who is the presumptive victim, today has testified under oath that she was not attacked by her husband. She has no problem with Mr. Alex. I'm not sure if they're married or not. She has no problem with being with him. They have no problems. She even testified, we have no issues when she's asked whether or not they talk each other daily.
Entonces, la señora Mesa declaró bajo juramento que ella no tiene ningún problema, ella no fue atacada por su esposo, bueno, no sé si son casados legalmente, pero que ella no tiene ningún problema con él. Y ella respondió esa pregunta cuando dijo que hablan al diario.
And the last point I'd like to make is that the officer made the point of saying that this happens all the time. The state even brought this up. This is not the first time. This happens on a regular basis.
Y el único punto que quiero hacer es que el oficial dice que eso pasa todo el tiempo. De hecho, el Estado hizo el punto que eso ha ocurrido varias veces.
However, the officer did not speak with any neighbors. It is 1:30, 1:40 in the morning with children outside of an apartment and some other adult that's inebriated out there, but yet no neighbor came out. The officer did not try to speak with any other unbiased witness. And also the officer could have had the opportunity of bringing forward all the 911 calls that have ever came from that location for a domestic violence. Again, we heard nothing of that.
Y la oficial está hablando de un caso cuando ella no habló con ningún vecino. Eso supuestamente sucedió entre la 1:30 y 1:40 de la madrugada, con niños afuera y un adulto ebrio, pero la oficial no hizo el esfuerzo de hablar con ningún testigo imparcial. De hecho, la fiscalía tenía la oportunidad de rastrear todas las llamadas de 9 a 11 que originaron de ese domicilio, pero no presentaron nada de eso.
And based on those reasons, Your Honor, we ask you if there's no probable cause for the charge of simple battery and for my client to be released.
Basando en esos motivos, Su Señoría, estamos pidiendo que usted determine que existe fundamento para las acusaciones de violencia simple y que deje en libertad a mi cliente.
Thank you. Anything else from the state?
Gracias. ¿Algo más del Estado?
Just very briefly, Your Honor. The state didn't mention that contact between the victim and the defendant happening in violation of bond orders frequently.
Brevemente, el Estado no mencionó que el contacto que sucedía entre el acusado y la víctima era en incumplimiento de la orden de fianza.
Not as if that's not a big deal. I pointed it out to show that this court takes that seriously as well as
No estoy diciendo que eso no es gran cosa. Yo lo enfaticé porque yo sé que el tribunal toma eso muy en serio.
And to point out that Your Honor admonished the defendant earlier today for that very purpose.
Y para enfatizar que usted, señor juez, regañó al señor acusado por esa misma razón.
And for the standard of probable cause, the officer is not required to produce 911 calls, nor are they required to produce witnesses that may or may not have seen anything, because per everyone, this happened inside the home.
Y para demostrar causa probable en un caso, los oficiales no están bajo obligación de presentar llamadas en 911, ni tampoco testigos que habrían visto lo que sucedió. Presuntamente eso sucedió dentro de la casa.
And of course, it's not just one witness. We haven't established why the child would lie about this being something that would occur. And I would just
Claro, no es solamente un testigo. No hemos establecido por qué una menor de edad mentiría sobre eso.
And Your Honor, I would just like to point out, I am in receipt of the bond order. I think the court is, and I forwarded it to Mr. Jimenez.
Estoy acusando recibo de la orden de fianza. Creo que usted, señor juez, también tiene la orden y ya le mandé una copia al señor Jiménez.
And that order does say he is not allowed to contact the victim, indirectly or directly by phone and a series of other means.
Y la orden sí hace constar que a él no se le permite comunicarse con la víctima por teléfono ni ninguna otras varias maneras.
And I would point out, I think that that's indicative or a bias or reason for the victim to not be as forthcoming.
Y creo que eso sería un motivo por la cual la víctima no está tan franca en su testimonio.
And that's all from the state, Your Honor. Thank you for the opportunity.
Es todo lo que dice el Estado. Gracias por la oportunidad de hacer mi argumento final.
All right, thank you. Okay, after considering the evidence in this case, the court is going to bound over one count of simple battery against the defendant.
Después de tomar en consideración las pruebas presentadas, En esta audiencia, yo voy a consignar al Tribunal de Primera Instancia la sola acusación de violencia simple.
And previously mentioned that it's dismissing all 5 of the cruelty to children charges.
Y como mencioné anteriormente, las 5 acusaciones de maltrato de menores quedan desestimadas.
The probable cause that was presented would be the officer's testimony.
La causa probable de la acusación que sigue en pie sería el testimonio de la oficial.
The Officer Grace testified that Ms. Rodriguez stated to her as a responding officer that the defendant assaulted Ms. Mesa and assaulted Ms. Mesa in front of the children.
La oficial Grace dijo que la señora Rodríguez, como la oficial Grace fue la oficial que acudió al lugar de los hechos, que la señora Rodríguez le dijo que el acusado pegó a la señora Mesa en la presencia de las menores de edad.
Officer Grace also testified that she spoke to the 13-year-old daughter who testified that the defendant was hit Ms. Mesa numerous times and pushed her head down.
La oficial Grace también dio testimonio que ella había hablado con la joven de 13 años que dijo que el acusado pegó a la señora Mesa y
also testified that the 13-year-old gave a written statement in which that is documented as far as being her statement.
La oficial también declaró que la menor de 13 años rindió una declaración escrita.
Hearsay is allowed for purposes of preliminary hearing.
Se admite testimonio de oídas para una audiencia preliminar.
Regarding the lack of bruises, there is no, for simple battery, that's not required.
En cuanto a la mención de falta de moretones, eso no se requiere para que exista una acusación de violencia simple.
The alleged victim's testimony is in question for the defendant having made contact with her on a regular basis.
El testimonio de la víctima está en tela de juicio porque presuntamente el acusado tuvo contacto con ella varias veces.
More than approximately 70 calls.
Más de aproximadamente 70 llamadas.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, is that a record? That I did not get a copy of that record. Of
Su señoría, eso es una constancia de llamadas. Yo no recibí una copia de esas 70 llamadas.
Well, that was brought out in the evidence by the state.
Eso salió en las pruebas que presentó el Estado.
Your Honor, if I may, I believe that was the Brooks case, the number of calls in the Brooks.
Su señoría, yo creo que eso fue en referencia a otro caso.
Oh, that's my mistake. Strike that. I do apologize.
Me corrijo. Perdón.
I did think, Attorney Lewis, did you indicate approximately the number of calls on this case?
I did not, Your Honor. I asked how often she spoke with them, and I think she said quite frequently.
That's right, every day. Okay.
Licenciada Lewis, usted mencionó un estimado de número de llamadas. No, su señoría, yo le pregunté y ella dijo frecuentemente.
I apologize for getting the case mixed up, but nevertheless, there's contact that's been made every day since he's been in jail in violation of a bond order to have no contact.
Pido disculpas de confundir los casos, pero salió testimonio que ha habido contacto todos los días desde que ha estado detenido el señor acusado y eso va en contra de la orden de fianza.
Regarding any charges against Mr. Oliveira regarding Ms. Rodriguez, the court will not be amending or adding any charges.
En cuanto a las acusaciones en contra del señor Oliveira, yo como juez no voy a modificar ni agregar ninguna acusación adicional.
The officer Grace testified that she did not issue any charges because of the Ms. Rodriguez saying she did not want him prosecuted for charges on her.
La oficial Grace dijo que no le formuló cargos con respecto a lo que sucedió presuntamente a la señora Rodríguez, porque ella, la señora Rodríguez, dijo que no quería que él fuera procesado por lo que había pasado entre él y ella.
And that Ms. Rodriguez was only interested in trying to help or intervene in the confrontation between Mr. Oliveira and Ms. Meza.
Y que la señora Rodríguez solamente quería ayudar o intervenir en la confrontación que hubo entre la señora Meza y el señor Oliveira.
Also, Officer Grace testified that it was in the midst of trying to intervene that Ms. Rodriguez may have been injured.
También la oficial Grace declaró que fue en el momento de intervenir que presuntamente la señora Rodríguez fue lastimada.
And then testimony from Ms. Meza today indicates that there might have been altercation with another male even prior to this incident.
Y el testimonio de la señora Meza indica que presuntamente, posiblemente, había otro enfrentamiento con otro señor y la señora Rodríguez antes de la fecha de lo sucedido.
That's the court's ruling, but in addition, the court needs to admonish Mr. Oliveira and Ms. Meza to not have contact with each other.
Este es mi fallo judicial, pero además de eso, tengo que exhortar que la señora Rodríguez, la señora Meza, perdón, y el señor Oliveira que no tengan contacto el uno con el otro.
Is Mr. Oliveira has no bond because he's on probation?
Y el señor Oliveira no tiene fianza porque tiene una orden de probation.
That's what the order looks like, Your Honor. It provided both a state court case and a superior court case.
Así parece en la orden, porque aquí aparece un caso en el tribunal estatal y en el tribunal superior.
I'm sorry, we'd like to be heard on bond, please.
Su señoría, sí puedo hablar con respecto a la fianza.
And so, Your Honor, we would object to hearing bond today, as we had no notice.
Su señoría, nos oponemos a que tratemos el asunto de la fianza porque no tuvimos notificación antes del día de hoy.
The state can notify the victim she's actually on the call.
I understand it's not about the victim notice. It's about us being able to prepare to certify and investigate what we would need to that's relevant to bond. And so
I'm going to deny the request for bond at this time, to be heard on bond.
Voy a negar la petición.
Hold on. Let's turn it, Ms. Toles, interpret.
Voy a negar la petición de tratar el asunto de la fianza en esta audiencia. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I would like to know what the probations that they claim is what's holding him. When were those sentences and when do they expire? Because they looked at their 2019 and I'm not sure if he's still on probation. I like to see that. And also, this is a misdemeanor. He's entitled to a bond.
Okay.
Quisiera saber cuáles son los casos por el cual tiene una condena condicional, porque parece que son de 2019 y Él está acusado de un delito menor, entonces tiene derecho a una fianza.
All right, so let me respond. On the bond order itself, it indicates that the defendant is on 12 months probation for in state court and superior court on 2 different cases.
En la orden de fianza hace constar que él tiene una condena condicional en el tribunal estatal o la sala estatal y en la sala superior por 2 casos.
And the bond order indicates the case number for both of those cases if Attorney Jimenez is interested in getting more information or details about it.
Y en la orden de fianza aparece el número de caso para cada uno de los casos, si quiere tener más información al respecto.
And because he's on probation and is alleged to have committed a crime involving violence to another, and the fact that he's on probation, no bond condition.
Y el hecho de que él está cumpliendo una condena condicional y que actualmente se le están acusando de cometer un delito de violencia, por eso no hay condiciones de fianza.
As allowed by OCGA 17-10-1.
Y eso lo dispone sección 17-10-1 de el Código de Leyes del Estado de Georgia.
So please, Attorney Jimenez, let your client know that he could have, he has no bond, but it would be hard for him to even get a bond if he makes contact, if he continues to make contact with Ms. Oliveira.
Por favor, licenciado Jiménez, avise a su cliente que él no tiene fianza, pero sería más difícil conseguir una fianza si sigue teniendo contacto con la señora Mesa.
And also, hold on, and also he needs to know that he could be criminally charged with violating the bond order.
Y también él tiene que saber que se le puede formular cargos penales por haber incumplido las normas de fianza.
So it needs to be explained and understood by both Mr. Oliveira as well as Ms. Mesa.
Entonces, tanto el señor Oliveira como la señora Mesa tienen que saber y entender esas cosas.
So, I mean, even though up to this point it's in violation, adding to that would only make the matter worse.
Aunque hasta ahora él está en incumplimiento, agregar algo más empeora la situación.
I'm sorry, I just pulled up that case.
I'm going to give you a chance and we'll provide the state even a greater argument and position going forward once the bond hearing is scheduled.
Judge, this is the jail. This is Deputy Taylor. I'm sorry to interrupt. You know we have first appearance on this computer in 4 minutes.
Okay. All right. We're about to end in 2. All right. Attorney Jimenez, what did you want to say?
I'm just trying to figure out, I pulled up this case, 2019 CR 09080. That's not my client. Oduola Iris.
Okay. All right. So counsel, listen carefully. This hearing is not the appropriate place to do that. If you find that something is incorrect, then you need to communicate that or file emergency motion. And I will let, you can send it straight to the email of Ms. Mary Moultrie, and she'll get it to me, and also let the state know. And if there's a problem, we will correct it and apologize and see where we stand after that's been determined and corrected.
Your Honor, we just want to clarify that we're not objecting to a bond hearing to be set. And certainly once this case is transferred to state court, we can address bond on that. Although a bond revocation may be appropriate based on our investigation of the contact of the
Que quede claro, no estamos pidiendo que no le pongan fianza, aunque una vez que pase al próximo nivel del tribunal, tal vez tendríamos que tener una audiencia para considerar revocándole la fianza.
Specifically, the state is indicating an objection to and an inclination not to waive its entitlement to notice of said proceeding so that they can prepare, instead of being forced into kamikaze bond hearings without notice.
I am sorry, this is not a kamikaze bond.
Well, hold
I
on
am
a
being
minute, hold on,
kamikaze with a bond order.
hold on, Attorney Jimenez. We have to let Ms. Toes interpret the last statement, and then we have to end.
Ms. Lewis, if I could get you to repeat that, please. Notice.
The state is not waiving its entitlement to notice. The Superior Court rules dictate that when there are motions made, the state is entitled to notice.
El Estado no está renunciando a su derecho de tener notificación adecuada para la petición de fianza. Las reglas de la Sala Superior del Tribunal de Primera Instancia disponen que el Estado tiene derecho a notificación adecuada para cualquier pedimento o petición.
And so the state would request that to the extent that they are entitled to have a position and prepare for bond hearings, that a motion be filed and that the case set down for hearing.
Entonces, para poder tener una posición en ese asunto, estamos pidiendo que la moción para fianza queda presentado al tribunal.
Okay, that is the law and that's the order of the court. Anything else?
Yes, Your Honor.
Así dispone la ley y así se dicta.
I do want to point out, just want to clarify that the state.
You got 30 seconds.
Yeah. I want to clarify that the state, acting as the state, as the prosecutor, is saying that this, at the bond hearing that they had, they presented to the court 2 cases that are.
No, that's not appropriate to hear, sir. It's not appropriate to hear that.
I don't believe it's appropriate for them to put someone else's probation on my client to deny the bond.
This hearing is over.
And I don't have any.
Whatever you need with the court.